is happening in Liberia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Monrovia. Spoon gonna tell you what is happening in Africa. Just do the spoon, you will know. If the children crying for starvation, just do the spoon. You want to get a news update, my brother, do the spoon. You want to know what is happening in Moravia, do the spoon. Politicians want to make their decision, just do the spoon. You want to know what happening in the ministry, do the spoon. Yeah, do the spoon. Yeah, do the spoon. You from Vonjama, Maryland, do the spoon. Yeah, do the spoon. If you eat get pound, congratulate my brother, do the spoon. You got a Spoon TV, you got a Spoon Radio, do the spoon. Yeah, do the spoon. What? Yeah, Rastafari. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. Kilibamba, kilibamba, kilibamba. What I want? Yes, what you got today? Spoon TV. Yes, what you got today? Spoon TV. Spoon
Urban, ethical, authentic, sports, entertainment, something for the old, something for the new, something for everybody in between. We leave nothing untouched. We are Spoon 107.5 FM.
Yes, a special one from the CEO, Stan Turner with the Spoon. And your boy, Friday the South Band. Charges on the beat. To get your information.
Okay, folks. You tuned in right. You tuned into Spoon 107.5 FM, Super 95.5 FM, as well as Fabric 101.1. For those of you watching Spoon TV, this is how I love to welcome each and every one of you to another edition of Spoon Talk, Liberia's biggest talk show. You welcome wherever it is you listening to us from across the country and from around the world. Today is Monday, the 5th day of June 2023. Let me now bring on the panelist, beginning with Dr. Richardson, who's set and ready in the back. She's all smiles. And then the rest of the panelists will definitely join on. My name is Diamond Slanger, and I'm producing today. So once again, you welcome to Spoon Talk. Let me just bring on Dr. Richardson right there. Then, Doc.
Yeah,
afternoon.
You can hear me? How you doing?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. I'm doing fine, and you?
That's good. How was your Sunday? I think the last time did I see you on Saturdays?
Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So, how was your Sunday?
Yeah, Sunday was great. It was holy. Yeah, you know.
Okay, good.
It was wonderful.
I hope that the Liberians that are listening to us had a wonderful Sunday. We are here again today to provide you information. My Sunday was quiet, family day, church day. So I hope everyone got a well-deserved break from, the daily hustle, the weekly hustle and bustle. So how's it going in Monrovia?
Well, it's been a wet day, mostly cloudy, I should say. It's raining heavily most parts of the country and light rain showers some parts of the country as well. But things are okay, relatively okay, I should say, in terms of how we are here. Politically, people have got a lot of things to say. If you ask each and every Liberian the question, they've got their own way to answer this particular country. But we're okay. The ground okay. We manage it. Got money up. Yeah.
That's good. just wanted our viewers to know that the panelists will be rolling in. Many of them are working, just getting home. So, and we also have our guest panelist today, Gibson Jaru, is going to be joining us today as well. And I believe Councillor Lami Parkour, who wasn't feeling well over the past day or so, is probably back with us, and he's probably feeling good. Fadiga and Fagon will probably roll in as we're having this conversation. So what's going on in the country? You want to tell me?
Yeah, a lot of things going on in the country. You know most of those things, but just for our listeners and our viewers, I've jotted down a few of those things to share. You asked how was the weekend and how was the Sunday. The weekend was okay, but it wasn't nice for Arsenal fans and Manchester United fans as well. So those who are supporters of Arsenal and Man U, their weekend wasn't nice. It wasn't a pleasant one. Yeah. No
What
offense though.
happened? Who won the game? Who won a game?
So Arsenal fans were rooting for Manchester United to defeat Man City, and unfortunately, again, you know, they by extension felt bad because City went on to win the FA Cup, so they're now in pole position to win 3 titles to win the historic treble. So the season was great for Arsenal fans. They ended in Che, and now they were rooting for Man U, and ended in Che again for them. So to all our Arsenal fans, you know that we know we say sorry. Yeah, that's just that. Yeah. All right, so those trending issues that I've jotted down to share with you and the rest of the guys on the show. What we've gotten reports from Bapolu and Bon County, Zota district in Bon County, and 2 other districts in Bapolu County. Is reported that there is caterpillar infestation, an invasion of caterpillars in those parts of the 2 counties that has led to the disruption of normal farming activities. We've been told by our Bapolu County correspondent Solomon Tibla that up to present when we spoke, there still hasn't been any sort of government intervention in the caterpillar invasion that is currently happening in both Bapolu and Bong County. So we want the requisite authorities to take note. The Ministry of Agriculture has got an extension division. They need to take note of what's happening in the Ministry of Health as well. We've been told that in Bon County, the caterpillars have contaminated sources of water in that county. I did see the pictures. I will share the pictures with the group and we might put them up as well. The small black in color, but they move in droves in this huge, drove. We've been told that the poison, when they touch your skin, you get, bumps and all that kind of stuff, and people have been hospitalized as well, according to the reports. So we want the Ministry of Health, the Ministry of Agriculture, the rest of the requisite authorities to look into this and see how this can be solved. Because if not, if our farmers, if our people who rely on subsistence farming cannot go to the farm, people are stuck in their homes. And this is not the first time it has been recorded in Bon County. Was reported in 2009, 2016, 2020, and now again. Yeah. So that's that. All right. For that. So they need to check that out as well. So to another story. This story is a tragic one. It's a story about anger, how we can sometimes we allow anger to put us in situations that at the end of the day we cannot get out of. In Bombing County, a man has been sentenced to life imprisonment for killing a 70-year-old man over $50 Liberian. Yeah. Yeah. Over 50 Liberian dollars in Bombing County. He has been sentenced to life imprisonment for committing murder. So the name of the convicted murderer is one Sal Lamore. It's reported that on the 31st of May 2023, he admitted to killing the victim on his farm. He had done work for the victim, and he charged $250 Liberian dollars. He was paid $200, and it was left with $50 Liberian dollars. And he decided to go after the deceased for the $50, and that led into an altercation on the farm. And then he strangled the man, and then used cutlass, to hit him in the head. And then he died. So he has been sentenced to lifetime imprisonment over 50 Liberian dollars scuffle. So sometimes you might have the right, you were owed the money and all of that, but if you allow lifetime imprisonment without the possibility of parole. So somebody wants to know if turn it as manslaughter. Okay, so somebody said manslaughter, but we got the report that it was murder from the 11th Judicial Circuit Court. All right, whether he went with the intent of killing the man, whether it was he pick up something as a weapon of opportunity, or he went with the intent to kill the man. The lawyers argued that, and he was sentenced to lifetime imprisonment there as well. So today, the National Elections Commission, the National Elections Commission released the final BVR report, the biometric voters registration report. Put it at approximately 49.97% of the population. So we have a population in around 5 million thereabout. So they've reported that 49.97% of our population is eligible to vote. So let me just go quickly through the figures that were released by NEC today. So the NEC has said they recorded a total number of 2,498,904 registrants. The figure again is 2,498,904 registrants. So if you take the 2,498,904 and divide it, and you want to know the percentage of our 5 million thereabout population, that gives you 49.97% of the population there. Okay, so the NEC also released notes out of the total number of registrants. The total number of females is at 1,241,414. The total number of males, 1,257,490. So they are initially registered 2,400,000. Out of that number, they reported 27,192 registrants were flagged as duplicates. So you had people registering twice or more than once. So that out of that number, we have 27,192 that were flagged as duplicates. Out of the 15 counties, 529 registrants were deemed as minor or underage. So the NEC is going through that process. So that is just for the BVR process. So I can go through the counties from the least to the most populated. But
just give the most registrants in which county? The most registrants.
Okay. So the county with the most number of registrants is Montserrado County with 901,149. So Montserrado County comes in first as 901,149. After Montserrado County, Nimba County comes in second with 307,126. After Nimba County, we've got Margibi County with 185,308. So those are the top three counties, registering the highest number of voters that were registered or captured by the BVR process. So that is for
who got the least.
Yes, Dr. Richard. Okay, let me go to the counties with the least registrants. Let me go through this quickly. So I'm looking at River G. Let me be careful voting River G. People come after me. Yeah. River G.
That's all. River
no, I'm
G.
looking at the figure. I have to be points. I have to be spot on. Yeah. But I see River G here with 37,795. After River G, I see River Cess with 39,928. All right. Somebody is asking for Bong. Yes, Bong is higher than Margibi. I stand to be corrected. So Bong has got 234,765. So after Montserrado and Nimba, Bong comes in third.
Okay. So Bong
comes in third.
Margibi is fourth, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's that. Yeah, so I made that correction, my people. It was an oversight. So Bong comes in third. So let me go over the figure for Bong County again, because we're talking politics, we're talking numbers. Yeah. So Bong comes in third at 234,765. Yes.
Mhm.
So that does it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's great.
So to the next story,
Mhm.
the finance minister has said no report, no salary. No report, no salary. Yeah. He made this statement today during the EU and the government of Liberia signing of four new financial agreements. He said those ministers and managing directors of public corporations and
Mhm.
ministers of government ministries
Mhm.
who have been reneging on submitting their financial report. You know, when they get in funds, they use the funds and they don't bring their performance report. They don't give financial report this time. If you don't give financial report, he will not give you salary.
Mhm.
Yeah, you will not give you salary. But the question is, for how long now have people been reneging on giving their financial reports? And is it only a statement made to be pleasing to the ears, or is something that the minister is going to follow through with? I remember the president awarded the Ministry of Public Works some years back as the most hard-working ministry under
Mhm.
the stewardship of may his soul rest in peace, the then minister Mabutu Vla Yimpa.
Mhm.
And the president made that pronouncement that he would be visiting ministries and agencies, and that would have been a regular thing, you know, to assess ministries and agencies, those who are working and those who are productive. That was only a
Mhm.
one time. It would have been a great thing, you know, because then people will go to work regularly because they don't know when you come and inspect.
Yeah.
People will perform well because then they know that they've been washed, and each ministry and agency will be vying for the top position. I was
Yeah.
happy when I got that particular story when the president did that and awarded the Ministry of Public Works. At the
Yeah.
end of the day, it was just a one-time thing. So Minister Twe, it's a good thing if you want people to give their budget, their financial report, because when they're giving public funds to go and perform duties, they should bring back the financial report so that we know that how much did you spend? Were you able to achieve what the money was given to you for? And all of those
Mhm.
things, so that you cannot ask for more. Yeah. But
Yeah.
at the end of the day, he has said, well, people say it's better late than never. But he has said, if you don't give the financial report, monies that
Mhm.
we give, I will not get your salary. And he's right by the law, though. Yes, he's right by the law. He's got the right to withhold salaries of ministers and director generals who do not give performance report. Now I heard him say it's not time for me to say now my man thing, you know, they no longer paku, but it's been almost 6 years. Is the minister telling us that over these years, all of these agencies and ministries have been giving their financial report on time?
Mhm.
So why now?
Correct.
My voice. Why now? All right.
Correct.
So we leave that story. We leave that story now. It was just to let you know
Mhm.
what the minister said. So also at that particular occasion, the European Union and the government of Liberia signed full financing agreements,
Mhm.
totaling 80 million euros. That is in American dollars. That is 88 million United States dollars. So those four financing agreements will have strengthening, inclusive, and accountable democracy in Liberia. 15 million euros, that is $16.5 million, goes toward that. Youth Rising, that is the EU to support technical and vocational education and training, TVET, for young people in Liberia. They've got 28 million euros going towards that. The EU also, in the third financing agreement, is from productivity to product, linking peer to peer, food security, and all of that. 24 million, that's 22 million euros, that's 24 million United States dollars. And the last is for forestry and conservation for a sustainable economic development program. 15 million euros, that is around $16.5 million, goes toward that as well. So those were the four financing agreements that were signed today between the government of Liberia and the European Union. It was at this particular signing ceremony that the minister made the statement that no report, no salary. You bring a grade. Yeah. Yeah, you don't get money from the family. Yeah, this one no pakuting. So quickly about to wrap up. So PYJ has accused some lawmakers and prominent citizens of Nimba County of eating chicken and giving the chiefs crumbs on his pulpit. Yeah, on the pulpit yesterday during his sermon. PYJ alluded that the strategic planning meeting that was held in Ganta on Saturday, where you have Opu Kagon and the rest of the lawmakers and prominent sons that are enjoying positions in this current administration from Nimba County at that strategic. PYJ said they were giving 170,000 to conduct that meeting. I said, I say United States dollars. 170,000 United States dollars, according to Senator Johnson. But according to this is what happened. Before the man left from Monrovia to even hit the highway, they were already halved, according to his allegation. When the man reached Ganta, on a small kini, remember that story? They say all gone, small gone. Then at the end of the day, they say all gone. You know, remember that story where you're legging the bottle or something of that sort, and as they say, well, they're all gone. Yeah. Then, according to him, and which was clarified and verified by our Nimba County correspondent, the chiefs were giving only $30 or 170K. Allegedly, to conduct the meeting, the chiefs were given only 30 United States dollars each as transportation. So he also disclosed that the CDC is planning to field an unpopular candidate against him, and then they will take him to court. Yeah, they will take him to court and they'll be dragging in court here, there, so that he can take his seat or to delay the process and everything in between. Yeah. So to still remain in Nimba County quickly, the Ganta Saninkole Road is 98% completed, according to the Minister of Public Works. Our correspondent also drove on the road. He verified that particular story. We've been hinted that the president is to be in Nimba on the 19th of June, and that road corridor might just be dedicated, might just be dedicated on the 19th of June, according to our correspondent. The RIA road also saw the first phase of asphalt pavement being laid at Lot 2. 3 years, 4 months since that road construction project was the ground was broken for. I remember that particular road project because I remember Minister Fagon at the time telling us, Minister Fagon, when President we are disembarked the bulldozer, you said the road project was going to begin the same day. You remember? Yeah. So now as I speak to each other, the president turned the saw. You'll see the machines moving. How many months did it take for the machines to move?
You took forever. The one machine out there, you didn't see it moving?
Yeah, no. You said the road construction project was going to begin immediately.
And when I
update on the story, I remember your words vividly, Minister Fagwan.
Those trucks that you saw dumb, the plenty crash right now were there that day. All those trucks. And that one machine. And it was all the start. My brother, what happened to the morning? What happened after that one? After the story now, I will tell you the real story.
Yeah, you tell the story though, but the first phase of asphalt pavement has begun. That stretch is on Lot 2, extends from ERW Junction to Disco Hill. Somebody said that flashing, trying to let us know that something is happening. So that is that as well. So let me just wrap up quickly, Dr. Richardson. So the Unity Party has allegedly awarded the representative slots to the Liberty Party in Montserrado County District 5 and 8 respectively. That the Unity Party, according to reports that we've gathered, is not going to field candidates in District 8 and District 5. And also, they are not going to field a candidate in Lofa County. Remember a week ago or so, Mo Ali withdrew any representative aspirations that he had. We were told that those were part of the concession agreements that were made to Senator Yomli Kanga Lawrence to get her on board. That they were not going to feed a candidate in Lofa. Mo Ali was going to withdraw because Madam Lawrence has got an interest in that district. and he would throw his support behind that person. And now we're seeing that the United Party is, allegedly said they are not going to field any candidate in Lofa to support the senatorial bid, the re-election bid of Senator Steve Zago. So those are just the stories that are jotted down to share with all of you on the show tonight. Folks.
Yes, I'm good now. Thank you so much.
On that problem. Go ahead, Dr. Richardson.
Yeah. Thank you so much for such a well done, elaborated report. We appreciate you taking the time to explain to Liberians the trending news. So we're gonna go. Let me just take some time. I want to welcome Mr. Fagon. I also want to welcome Mr. Gibson Jeru.
Yes, Gibson Jeru. Yes.
Yes. It looks like you're driving. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Okay. Yeah. I just want you to be safe. That's all.
I'm fine.
I see you got Gonglo Global Media. Is that your affiliation?
Yeah, actually, I'm the chairman for the Gonglo Global Media Committee.
Okay.
So I didn't put a chairman there. I just put Gonglo Global Media.
All right. Okay. I know that. I see it's Councilor Lamy in the back.
No, it's not in yet. We just set up for him.
Okay.
So the event he comes through, then we don't need to do all of the technical works.
I see. Okay. So Liberians, let me just welcome Mr. Fagon and Mr. Jeru. Let me just welcome our viewers, okay? Because I'd just like them to be recognized. It's such a instrumental part of our Spoon Talk here to me. So I'd like to recognize them. And I'm not going any particular order. So just to let you guys know. Mr. Fagon, you want to help me recognize my cousin? My family.
RIA rule business, got Mr. Fagon going to look for his notes.
So I'd like to welcome Aloysius Nelson. He's from Maryland, USA. I also want to welcome Say Wome. He's from Bone County. I see Mamadi Dawan is here. I see Yvonne Eo is also here. Yvonne Eo, thanks for coming. I also see PK Tukba is here. He's watching from Turkey. Robert Kennedy, thank you for joining us. Call Gloria Boca Moba, she's always here following us. Thank you so much for following us, Call. Omen Zizu is here from Banjo, Lower Virginia. He said District 17 needs electricity. June's Queen is also here. Ezekiel Brooks is here. Thank you for joining us, Ezekiel. And let me just see. Sekou Sheriff is here. Thank you for joining. Jerry D. Ajifon is here from Sweden. Mr. Ajifon, thank you for being a part of Spoon Talk today. Roland Ben is from Atlanta, Georgia, watching us today. Ja Eddie is also from Grand Bassa County. And we have Jeans Jala from New York. We have Tonia Brooks from Robertsfield Highway. She said the completion is, she's questioning from where to where. She wants to go see it. Dama, the one asking the completion from where to where, you let her know later. Augustine M. Massacre is from the Dupont Road. He's from Dupont Road area. Thank you for being here. Joseph Kokoro is also from Hamilton, New Jersey. I want to thank you for being here as well. Joman Jala is also here. Joman Jala, hello, how you doing? He said, I don't never recognize him. Dula Dula is also here. Montgomery Va is here. Thank you for being here. Solomon Gaigana is from Pipeline Road. Solomon, your last name is giving me a hard time, but I hope you Solomon is okay. Richard Bachu is listening. Baker Ramsey is also here. He says, welcome, Honorable Eugene L. Fagon. And Eliza Taylor Mafoli is watching us. Ibrahim Dennis is watching from New York. Angeline, okay, now the thing is going so fast on me. Titus Ketter is watching from Grand Cru. Gosh, all the way in Grand Cru, huh? Frank White is from Atlanta, watching from Atlanta. And let me see who else in that. Okay, Justin Comment is watching from Painesville, gracefully watching from Painesville. All right, so I want to just thank you guys for being here. If you're in TV land, radio land, viewers on your social media device, I just want to thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to have a spirited conversation on a variety of issues. I wanted to just start, actually, this is something burning, a burning issue in my mind. Diamond, did you hear about the National Muslim Council warning imams against performing marriage ceremonies for underage girls?
Yes, I did hear that, and some part of me, that's my better judgment, felt that you were going to raise that issue, and of course you did. They warned imams of conducting marriage ceremonies for girls below 16 to below 16. Yes. So if you're 16 and above, then they shoot. But if you're below that age, because this story, the reason they came up with such a strong statement, a man believed to be in his 50s.
57.
57 reportedly
Yeah.
got married to a 12 years old girl.
Uh-huh.
Yes. So that sparked a national debate. I did follow the trend on social media. People were saying, "Oh, yeah, why about you two can allow for people to be having copper?" And it was somewhat of a twisted debate. People were taking this on religious lines rather than looking at it from a social perspective, the rights of this child and all of that. People are looking at, okay, if you say people doing it, why about you doing that? Yeah. But the Imam Council have come up with a strong statement, whether that will be followed, if they have any mechanism in place, that if this is done, they'll report this matter. And the government, the LNP, why haven't we seen them make any move, as well as the gender ministry, the Liberian National Police, the child services, and the protective department of the Liberian National Police, to protect the children? What are they doing about that as well? All we see is just rebuttal, but we haven't seen any kind of strong action taken to annoy that particular marriage, because if the minor is underage, as per law, that marriage is not a void already.
Yeah. So what disturbs me about that is the fact that this 12-year-old girl is going to be robbed of her childhood. She's going to be robbed psychologically. She's going to be robbed intellectually. She's going to be robbed physically and socially. When we look at, psychologically, just imagine a 12-year-old girl being a wife to a 57-year-old man. How is she going to do that? That can cause depression, anxiety, isolation, and loneliness. So, because that's a role that she's never done before, she's still a child. Okay. Marriage as it is for even adults is challenging. Can you imagine a child trying to play that role, that girl, especially? And socially, she's out of school. I can't imagine how she's going to be a wife and then attend school at the same time. I don't know what plans that they would have for her to be able to at least get an education. Who are going to be her friends? How is she going to be? Can she have similar conversations with her friends? If her friends are her age group, are they going to be talking about cooking, having children, or are they going to be talking about the things that 12-year-olds talk about, playing with their dolls, or country cooking with cups and pans and stuff like that? And and if this man, I don't know who he is, but imagine being intimate with a 12-year-old girl. That's abuse in itself. That physical and sexual and emotional abuse in itself. I mean, or even to the point of when is she going to have a child by him? This causes fistula, which is when a girl's pelvis is so little. Sometimes it causes their body to rip, and they have feces coming out of their body. So how I just can't imagine. That was heartbreaking. So I stand with the imams who's calling for, girls who are underage not to get married to, especially men who are 50 times the age, maybe, or 30 times the age, or 40 times the age. But I don't think 16-year is the right age either. 16, I think you're still not developed cognitively, socially, and physically to be anyone's wife. So
Under our law, Dr. Richardson, under
Mhm.
our domestic relations law,
Mhm.
a female is to get married at the age of 18.
Mhm.
But if you do 18 and 16, your parents, they can consent as well. So if you're 16 and you're not 18, but you're 16 and you're not below 16, your parents can consent to the marriage. So, but the age is 18 for a female and 21 for a male. If you are a male and you're below 21, but you're not below 18, then your parents as well. That's where I see they come from with the 16 being captured there as well.
So a parent will make the decision for a 16-year-old to get married. That's what you're saying.
That's what the law says, unless that has been changed. I don't. The last time I checked our domestic relations law, that hasn't been changed. But
I don't know. I don't sit too well with me. But anyway, let me go to Mr. Jerry. Thank you for being here. Thank you for serving as a guest panelist on Spoon Talk today. And then I just want to hear you guys' thoughts, your opinion on basically the issue that I brought up, and then of course you can also add your thoughts for the day on any of the trending issues.
Absolutely. First of all, I am excited to be among some of the best panelists on issues that have been discussed in our community and about our country. I'm really, really thrilled to be here, and I will be learning the ropes. I don't know all the rules here, so I'll be learning as we go along. I'm a very good learner. Just in case I break any of your rules, just put me back on track so I don't have to break rules and go. But the issue you brought up is a very emotionally charged, disturbing information. However, there are two bodies of laws that are clashing in Liberia. One is the customary law, and the other one is the civil law.
Yes.
Under the civil law, 18 years old is the age of consent. And so anyone who is 18 and above has a right to make your own decisions to get married, and there cannot be any issue of rape under the civil law. Unfortunately, when I participated in the panel with Kimoto, the UNICEF representative at the time in 1996 or 97, when we participated in the recreation of the annulment of the customary law, which we feel was because culturally our people are used to arranged marriages, and part of the arranged marriages include, paying the dowry paying the bride price for a child who is still a child, and then the child grows to become the wife of either the me person who paid the bride price or the son. Like for example, in my case, my mother was 13 years old when her bride price was paid by my grandfather, but she stayed in the house of my grandfather to grow. When she grew to become someone who can become a wife, and then she moved into my father's house. So that has been the practice of our customary law. Unfortunately, we don't have any law. I'm not sure of any law that is existing that has outdone the customary law. So we need the lawmakers, the representatives, to start a bill that will be introduced that will change the trajectory of our two-body law system. Otherwise than that, it is a futile argument. It's only going to be by words of mouth. It's only going to be emotional issues, and nothing is going to happen because it is still going to be legal customarily to marry somebody who is even 13 years old or 12 years old. It is part of our law system. So if we want it to be changed, we have to go back to the lawmakers. and so they can produce a bill that will engender the scrapping of the customary law in our system. That means also, don't forget, if you scrap the customary law, then you have to take into account our people who live in interior, because the law is not for people in Monrovia. The law is for people who live in their cultural localities, and the cultural localities take into account customary law, marrying the child while the child is still young, and so that you can train the child to be the kind of wife you want. Those are the things that go into the decision. Yes. You marry the child, you train the child to be the kind of wife that you want. That's the way the customary cultural.
So who does this? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. So
no, you go ahead.
Basically, everything I'm saying, and then Mr. Fagon come in. So this benefits just the man, right? Because the man will train the child to be the kind of wife that he wants.
The law benefits both the man who is marrying the child and the parent, because from the parent perspective, they want to marry their children while they are still virgin. So they don't want them to grow and have boyfriend before they put them into marriages, and then they will be disgraced. So they like the fact that their children are still virgin, they are still they are still children, and they got married to their husband. So they grow up in their husband's house. So it benefits both the girl's parent and the man who is getting married to the child. Unfortunately, it has an emotional scar on most of the women who marry as children, because there's a stigma. You live with that stigma for a long time. It's difficult for you to get among your friends and be a child like you're supposed to be. You are already a wife before you even reach 16, and all the kind of emotional distress have an impact on the child who has gotten married. My mother went through the same emotional distress. She told me many times she never had her childhood. She grew up 13 years old and she was already a wife. So she had to behave like one. She didn't go to play with her friends. And every time she went to play with her friends, the people would come and take her from there and say, hey, these are not your equal. So stuff like that had a lot of emotional distress for the children who are getting married in a customary setting. But it is something that we need to improve on. Like I said, the UNICEF representative in 1996, 97, when I was part of the panel that tried to engender a legislation for the eradication of customary law. Kimoto, she did very well. They put all the money into it. UNICEF put all the money into it. The lawmakers were even now willing to raise the bill for it, because all of them have that kind of background and they think it's going to destroy their parents, their brothers in the villages. So it's a very, very deep-seated legal wrangling that continue to go on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. Mr. Fagon, you want to chime in? What are your thoughts about this subject matter here? And then, of course, we'll be going on to politics, but I think this is politics as well.
Well, thank you. And let me greet my friend Gibson Jeru. How you doing, my dear brother? Let me also say good day to you, Dr. Francine. It's good to be with you, and my favorite media person in the country, Diamond, gave him my historical facts and he wanted to catch me, but he saw the machine, he saw the crush, right? He saw the trucks. What happened?
If you want to give him an accolade, Mr. Fagon, put your very first producer as well.
That's
remember Liberian Talk? I produced Liberian Talk. So, that part.
You see, he rushed my team. 30 seconds. I'm praising you as my favorite media person in the whole country. That means you pass Rodney C.A., Philip Brown, Stanley Seeker, all the men, and you beat them.
You're on the pedestal.
You're the best in the whole country. You're the best. But anyway, it's good to be with you all, and thank you, Diamond, for your service to country. Regardless of where you worked, you've always been a shining example of what a young man striving to achieve greater heights should do. And that is try your best to do the right thing. Having said that, somebody got a walkie-talkie on.
Can you mute yourself, please?
Go ahead.
Some device playing.
It's no longer there.
Okay. What my friend and brother Gibson said is accurate historically. And even up to today, he was on point. Unfortunately, as you know better, you do better, Dr. Francine. I'll give you the reference to our Constitution, which is the fundamental law of the land. And I'm speaking directly to the subject matter without going into the clinical aspect of it. In Article 2, the second paragraph, it is clear that any laws, treaties, statutes, decrees, customs, as in the case of female mutilation or the customary law he talked about, the religious customary stuff or what, customs and regulations found to be inconsistent with it to the extent of the inconsistency be void and of no legal effect. This is the Constitution, not me. It cited two things. Any laws, any customs found to be inconsistent, to the extent of the inconsistency, will be of no legal effect. So where is the inconsistency here with respect to this particular religious discussion? Article 14 is very clear. And the second sentence, I don't want to read the whole thing, just the second sentence. All persons who in the practice of their religion conduct themselves peaceably, not obstructing others, and conforming to the standards set out herein, meaning the Constitution, okay, shall be entitled to the protection of the law. That is, if you are conforming, as it read. Now, the next sentence says, no religious denomination or sect shall have any exclusive privilege or preference over any other, but all shall be treated alike. So, here you find it. The Constitution is bigger than any law, treaty, or customs. If, for any reason, we have a religious organization or a religious body, such as Islam, Muslims, who say, you know what? It is our religion, so we can do whatever we like. No, I think the imams, who are the spiritual leaders, look at it and say, no. The Prophet Muhammad tells us to obey laws and to also worship our God. So the law said we can't do this, we shouldn't do that. So even at 16, I agree with you. But like Gibson laid out, clearly you can see some of our traditional people still does that. Unfortunately, today, they're still doing it. 14 years old. You have a gender minister who herself is a political minor. And politically, she's underage. Because if she wasn't, these are the issues over the last 6 years that you would tackle to save the girl child, using the Constitution as a yardstick in the determination of your forward march. Unfortunately, that have not happened. Now, to address this issue will require the luminary minds to come together and say, what can they do? And I use this as a premise. In Sharia laws, if you steal, they sort of cut your hand. In Liberia, we have Muslims. Do they cut people's hands when they steal? Some Muslims in some parts of the world, if you commit adultery, they're supposed to stone you to death. Do they do that in Liberia? No. So I know the imams did their best, but it will be left to a government with a seasoned minister of gender to follow through what Jeru and others worked on before, and make sure in these modern times we follow the law. On one other issue, you say my thought, Samuel Tuah is in no position to hold employees' salaries because someone did not make report to his office. No. Article 34, D2 is very clear. He's not the president. He himself should be reporting to the president.
So
But to hold somebody,
I want you to hold that thought. That would be our second conversation going on.
okay. So to close on this whole debate about the girl child, whether it be fixer 1 or fixer 2, sweeper 1 or sweeper 2, rescue 1, rescue 2, the favorite and the people's choice, we will soon have a gender minister that will look at these issues, call people in the auditorium of the ministerial complex, discuss it, and find a lasting solution to this problem. Meaning stakeholders, such as our partners, our legal people, our traditional people, experts like you, clinicians, and we sit down and find a solution. It's not going to happen under President Weah. That I can guarantee you, because that is his area of expertise.
Okay. All right. I want to welcome Councillor Lamy. How you doing today, Councillor Parker? We can't hear you. You muted. You muted. Oh. Gotta fix the mic in there. We still can't hear you.
What's up now?
Yes, now it's better.
Okay,
yes.
So I'm doing a lot better than I was on Thursday and Friday. You know, it was crazy, but
good to have you back.
Yeah. When you have to take care of the health, you have to take care of the health. But now I think I'm 90% good.
Yeah. So we're having this discussion. I brought this up because I read this on Front Page Africa. Let me give them credit about this 57-year-old man who married this 12-year-old girl, taking her as his fourth wife. And I was very disturbed because I'm imagining that 12-year-old girl whose childhood is going to be robbed. I'm thinking about her intellectual advancement. I'm thinking about her socially. I'm thinking about her physically. And the reason I'm actually saying this because I actually have encountered women on this side of the ocean who had similar experience. And actually the reason why I've encountered them because of psychological reason. And so they're no longer in that position, but they had the same experience of this 12-year-old girl. And some of these women are in their 30s, 40s, and they're still having psychological effects of, you know, when they were taken from their parents to be the wife of an older man, like a 57 or 60-year-old man. So some of it is, you know, they can't concentrate. They have anxiety. They don't trust people. They have difficulty being in a relationship with other people. So there's a lot going on here. I just wanted to know what are your thoughts?
So, I mean, this is a topic that I'm kind of like ambivalent about, depending on what is being said, because I'm also from a traditional. I'm a fruit. My siblings and I are fruits of a traditionally arranged marriage, and it wasn't a situation that turned out bad. So I like to be very careful how I discuss this particular issue because I mean, it's not one size fit all. If you look at the statute, and I think it was Slanger I was talking about the statutory situation. I think Gibson spoke about the statute also. On our domestic relations law, as far as I know, I don't know whether they've made any changes in it yet, but as far as I know, the age of consent to marriage for boys or for men is 21, and for females is 18, without parental consent.
Correct.
So you see, there's a kind of little discrimination there against the males, because a male child has to be 21 years old, or for full-grown men, got to be 21 years old before his parents doesn't have to consent in order for him to get married. According to the law, as I know it presently, the current If they made any changes in it, I don't know. But if they made changes in it, then forgive me for providing information that is old. Then for females, without parental consent is 18. For but a female under the current text can get married at the age of 16 with current parental consent. So, but there is a kind of disconnect between that and the rape law, because the rape law says having sex without having sex below the age of 18, you cannot consent to sex before below the age of 18. Marriage, the other law says you can get married at the age of 16, if your parents agree. So technically speaking, it means you can consent to sex at the age of 16 if you are married. That's the basic issue.
Correct.
So, but I mean, obviously, there probably a reason why the people who crafted this law back in the 1970s decided that it should be 16 with parental consent, and then for the girls, it should be 18 without parental consent. And for me, I always like to make fun of it and say those older guys wanted younger girls without their parents saying no to it, and that's the reason why they made the 18-year-old for girls. Because I don't think girls are fundamentally, mentally better off than boys at the age of 18.
I think so too. I don't want to be biased, but I think girls are faster than boys.
So again, they didn't want their boys to get married sooner, so they wanted to keep them late because they thought that, oh, I don't want my boy to just go get married to any girl, so they say it should be up to 21. So they in their own thinking, they thought that was the best way to run a country. And that's the law that they left us with. But as I said, it's not one size fit all. It's not one size fit all. My mom was 18 years old when I was born. And I mean, even though sometimes when I sit and reflect on the fact that she used to use the whip more, and I would sit and say, I mean, she was a girl, she's just a girl, so maybe the best thing she knew, the next best thing she knew to discipline was just a whip. So when you step all the bones, you're going to get whipped. So we got a lot of whipping from her as opposed to our dad, who hardly ever beat us. But our mom, I mean, she didn't waste time. And by the time you step on the bone, if your in-hands reach, you're going to get it straight. So when we realize that we always stay, arm's length from her before doing something that will annoy her. So it's not one size fit all. Sure. You got to take into consideration the societal and the cultural context. That is doing it, but I don't think anybody should get married to anybody at the age of 12, except maybe that 2 12-year-olds getting married. Or 12-year-old girl should not be getting married to anybody who's an adult. I don't think that should happen anywhere. That's as much as I would say about that.
Yeah. I think that I side with you guys. It's a cultural issue and a constitutional issue, and I think it will probably be better for Liberia if we can get all the stakeholders together, like Fagon said, and talk about, the cultural impact, the impact on the girl child. That's exactly what, I think that we need to speak about. All of this discrimination, 18 versus 21. Why? The developmental milestones that a child meets at different ages, I just can't see a 16-year-old. I mean, I have 4 daughters, and I can't imagine any one of them, getting married. Even the brain doesn't fully biologically, the brain doesn't fully develop until you're like 24, 25.
They say if you want to solve the problem of poverty, what do? There is one solution to poverty on this earth: give a woman control of her reproduction. And one of the best ways you can give a woman control of her reproduction is by providing education to that woman. The moment you do that, there's absolutely nowhere a 12-year-old child is going to be getting married. Somebody whose parents are educated also, they have escaped this poverty trap. It's not going to happen. There's going to be very little room for those kind of cultural situations. So if we want to solve our poverty problem, and that has been proven everywhere on this earth, it's been proven. If you want to solve your problem of poverty, give women control of their reproduction. You have to do that. You have to fight female poverty. I know you can solve female poverty. A lot of men will have children all over the place, but women do normally do that. You suddenly find a woman who will just have children, especially an educated woman. especially a woman who's being given that autonomy over her reproduction. She will not just go about having children all over the place. And the moment you can solve that problem, you on your way to solving the problem of poverty. I mean, that's been proven everywhere in the world.
Yeah. So yeah, and to just bring this to a closure, my thing is sometimes all cultural practices are not good for human. Okay. Sometimes I like to just put it out there. And then secondly, I think again we all need to sit down and talk about this and iron it out in our country in order to move forward. Because it is, think about the 12-year-old girl. Think about if she was your child, how would you feel? So I just want to say that I think it's also good for us to just know that all cultural practices are not conducive to.
Dr. Richardson, if you're poor and she's your child, you will not feel anything I can show you. If you were poor, you will not be thinking about all these things we're talking about. You'll not rationalize it. You rationalize it in terms of, at least I'm putting her into marriage and she will not be, gallivanting the village or the neighborhood and just running into the possibility of having unwanted pregnancy. That's how you rationalize it. And especially if you can take care of your needs, you rationalize it out.
Can I say something quickly before you end, Dr. Richardson?
Yes, go ahead, Paco.
There is no rationalization, whether you are poor or rich, for a 12-year-old child. It's a child. And a 57-year-old man is going to penetrate a 12-year-old child.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
She's not fully developed.
No, but you don't know he's going to have sex with her. How do you know he's going to have sex with her? How do you know that?
Let me finish, my friend. Because when people marry, they don't marry to go stand like priests. I don't know where you come from with these hypothetical situations when we're discussing a marriage. When people marry, they marry with all of the qualities set therein. So you don't know that. You think they marry to go sit under the altar? When you marry a woman, what is expected of you? That to go praise God?
Consummate the marriage. You don't have to consummate the marriage. You don't have to. There's nothing that say you must.
And everything you're saying, I will ask you, even though you interrupted me, but I will ask yourself. You don't have to consummate the marriage. They are married, aren't they? What are the expectations when you're married? So let me finish my thought.
Go ahead, Falcon.
It's like in one of my classes years back, here at the university, when I was told in the class that Africans sold their people into slavery. And I asked the professor, to who? You, the Americans? He that's what history says. And I corrected him. I said, did Americans go on the sea or it was Portuguese and Spaniards? He said, yeah, they were Spanish people and Portuguese. I said, so you never went to Africa to buy slaves. Slaves were sold to you right here on your soil. And because you were religious at the time, you knew it was wrong. So they gave you a story to say that it was their people who sold them. Forgetting to tell you that they had cannons, pistols, and musketeers. And our people only had bow and arrow and spear with cutlasses. So they moved in, they launched the area, they attacked, they captured. At a certain point in time, they were, but you were not there. This is our story, and we can tell you our story. It's the same here today. Because when they take up people children and brought in here, they say, oh, they post their children. Go and take the puppies from under a dog and see what will happen. Attempt to take chicks from under a chicken and see what will happen.
Right.
I don't care how poor you are. If you are a woman who born a child, to give a 12-year-old girl to a 57-year-old man with his langa, unless you're crazy. But it is either the religious bearing, the pressure, and what have you. And I am submitting to my friend and brother that once you push that child into marriage, it's left now with the man to say, okay, I will not sleep with her until after 3 years. But she's at the what? Mercy of the man. She is supposed to be in his bed. And he's supposed to bring that white bear sheet and show it to the parents. that is cruel. That is unacceptable. And I don't think we should be finding a way around it. We should
Yes.
link up with the laws, like Jeru said, call the people together, including him, Lami, and find a way to save our children and not allow customary law, which in Article 2 is specific, that is in violation of the Constitution, to move ahead. It's just my thought.
Yeah. And finally, this is to put an end to this subject matter. I want to welcome Mwali. Mwali, welcome to the show. Thank you for being here. It's discriminatory. It's all in the benefit. It benefits a man. That's the only thing I can say. It benefits a man. There's nothing good about a child getting married, a 12-year-old girl getting married that is good for her. Socially, cognitively, physically, emotionally, psychologically, it is all downhill for a girl. So I'm going to end this conversation and then we're going to talk politics. And some more. I don't know if you want to say anything about it, but we have to move on. All right. So we're talking.
I just and I really know what the discussion is all about.
So let's move on. Let's forget about you late student.
Good. So, Diamond told us today that the Liberian government signed a series of financial agreements with the European partners, the EU. So, at the signing ceremony, apparently, Tue says, according to Diamond, no report, no salary.
The clip, you want me? I can play the clip for you. I can get
Yes,
the clip.
actually, please do. That would be very helpful. Yes.
Give me a minute. Let me get the clip.
Okay. So I want you to sort of be marinating your thoughts around this issue. Like, it's about now, almost 4 months before elections. This Minister of Finance has been in power for the past almost 5 years and some months. But today he's asking for reports. The ministry and public agencies should give him report. I want Diamond to play the tape and let's see it and hear it and hear it with our own ears. And then I would ask you guys to please give your feedback. I also want you to be marinating on There's also a report today about Jeremiah Cohn. I believe it was in the Daily Observer. That's a report that was published by the Center of Transparency and Accountability in the Central. And they are asking, how did Senator Jeremiah Cohn private hospital get in the national budget? So that would be our second topic for the day. The first topic would be no report, no salary. The second topic would be, how did Jeremiah Cohn private hospital get in the national budget? So those two things to think about as we wait. And let me just kind of ask you, anything else on your mind as we're waiting for, so Falcon already kind of told us, Gibson, Jeru, anything on your mind that you just like to talk about briefly as we wait for a Diamond? I don't want to kill the airspace.
Well, actually,
Diamond, you ready?
Yeah. Dr. Richardson.
You hear me? You hear me fine? Oh, if he's here, let him go ahead.
Okay,
so this is the audio excerpt.
The law says if a minister is not reporting on time, and law, we not exercise that law, the Minister of Finance can hold the salary of the head of the entity. I didn't make that law. The national legislature passed that law. So we're about to move there. If there are entities that are not reporting, the minister will hold your salary. And we are saying that we want to enforce that law. Recently, if an American ambassador in one of his public statement, he mentioned that 45% of the government entities are not reporting. I have the responsibility as Minister of Finance to implement the public financial management law. I could be asked the question, why are you not holding salary of persons? What would be my response? Oh, Bakula Mameh. Well, we got to move from this Bakula Mameh thing to serious governance. Because
so there you have it, Dr. Richardson. We're moving from the Bakula Mameh thing to serious governance. So the minister has said they've been doing Bakula Mameh for a long time now. They need to stop.
Yes. So, Mr. Gibson, You heard what happened, what the minister said. What are your thoughts on this?
I think if you look at it, it looks like the president, through the minister, is punishing the civil servant because of the blunder of their minister. And I think Fagon was trying to touch onto that before you told him to wait. How, I don't know, that law is, if it is there, it's a bylaw. It's a bylaw. And that kind of law does not take into account the feelings, how much the people are making anyways, how much are they making, and you're going to hold it because the minister did not make a report. Think about
let me just come in quickly, Mr. Jerry. It's not the civil servants. It is the head of the entity, the minister or the director general. It's not the civil servants. He didn't say he's going to withhold the salaries of the civil servants, rather the head of that institution for not reporting or giving their financial report. So I just wanted to get that clarity.
If you play it again, I think I heard him say the salary of that agency. That's what I heard.
The salary of the head of the agency. The salary of the head of the agency. So I can
play
it.
It. Let me hear it. So we can go for it.
Play it one more time.
Ministers have to report on time. The law says if a minister is not reporting on time, a law, we don't exercise that law. The minister of finance can hold the salary of the head of the entity. I didn't make that law. The national legislature passed that law.
So you got it now?
Yes, it's clear. It's loud and clear. Well, I don't have an issue with it because the minister and the directors serve at the will and pleasure of the president. And so the president can determine what happened to them if they don't listen to him. But I think it is a lazy way of dealing with the problem. If a minister is in the habit of not reporting on time, the president should either suspend him so that everyone else will learn the lesson. And this is something like I was talking to, let me just push it in really quick. When I was talking to Councillor Gonglo the other day, these are some of the things he was talking about. The inability of the leader to take action on people who violate the law or who violate the policies, and you want to use other mechanisms to pacify them. Holding the minister's salary, let me give Eugene Nangbe, for example. If Eugene Nangbe fails to make a report, you hold his salary, what does that do to him? He may already reach. He doesn't need that salary. You can hold that salary for the next 5 months. He doesn't care. But if you suspend Eugene Nangbe because he did not make his report, then it will ring a bell to the rest of the leaders and say, if you do not make your report, you are going to be suspended, and that's a public spectacle they are putting you in. I don't think holding the salary is a lasting solution. I think it's a small screen.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to go on to Mr. Fagon. And I want to, the impact of the minister acting now, okay? The impact that it has in Liberia when people have been working and not giving a report, and all of a sudden we're doing this now. Mr. Fagon, can you just share your thoughts about why now and the impact that, you can have a whole minister been working for the past 5 years or maybe for the past year, has not submitted a report, but now today we'll be looking for a report. And then if you don't report, we'll hold your salary.
Well, Dr. Francine, the first thing we have to look at as a people is whether Samuel Tuah have been performing with respect to making budget performance reports. You can't pretend, Damo cannot pretend, Lamy cannot pretend. Samuel Tuah, budget performance reports. What is his report card? Zlish. Zero. Nothing. Nada. They have queried him for the past 6 years for budget performance report. Nothing.
So the legislature, you're saying, have been asking.
Yes. He gave nothing. So let's go back to the Millennium Funds. Why did he lose it? Why did Liberia lose it? Because they were not reporting, right?
Yes, I think.
We've gone almost 6 months now. And then you come back and say, quote, I want to look back at 19. It's time we look at serious governance. Bagu, you fail in budget performance reporting. You failed with the millennial stuff. You, Pagu. Look at Pag one called ticket or blaggy. But what is significant for us to pick up on is the fact that Twe alluded to the fact that the government has been unserious. When he said, it's time for us to do serious government. So for the past 5.5 years, you've been playing. That's why you've never reported on the budget. That is exactly why the other people did not report to you. That is exactly why we didn't do good with the Millennial Challenge. And we came in front of Dr. Francine today. You talk that kind of thing, you want Dr. Francine to sit down here now and believe you that you're going to punish the head of entity. I submit to you in closing on this matter. What Jeru said is something to take serious. The minister said he makes 5,000 plus. You hold a 5,000 plus. But he's running a budget in his ministry of probably $1 million. You think his small cash thing alone, he take care of him? His DSA, daily sustenance allowance, and his petty cash. You think he got time? If he's in a lucrative ministry where everybody come in and giving him hand, do you think he cares? So, madam, on October 10th, the Liberian people have made a conscious decision that they are going to change the government. Whether it be with a sweeper, whether it be with a fixer, whether it be with with Rescue One, they have made a conscious decision to change Chakla 1 and Chakla 2 and move on to the future of the country. And I am confident in submitting to you that that person has been decided upon by the Liberian people, and it's none other than Ambassador Joseph Numa Boakai.
Okay, let me go to Councillor Lami Farquhar. Councillor Lami, let's speak about this matter in context of accountability. Okay, here it is. We are hearing that the heads of these departments, these ministries, are not even giving report to Mr. Twe. What does that speak? How does that speak about what they're doing for our country? You know,
the process of governance in this country has continued to become unserious. It started off with the Saliva administration. Every government agency is required to make annual report to the national legislature. I mean, I used to work at the legislature. I was in the Press and Public Affairs Bureau of the legislature during the entire Taylor period. Gibson used to report from the legislature also, so he knows what I'm about to say. Every government agency is under obligation to provide annual reports, and those annual reports will include budget performance, everything they got to provide it annually to the legislature. Go to the legislature and ask them to give you annual reports of government agencies going back 12 years. You'll be surprised to find that you hardly see anything there. It's the unseriousness of governance. And the problem is that the other guys who came to power, they just made it worse. They made it absolutely worse. When it comes to reporting, accountability doesn't mean anything to them. Why will you be asking for people to account when you're almost on the way out? Huh? I mean, is there a serious group of people? And he quoting a law that he says the legislature passed. I'm not too sure what that law says. So we got to take it on faith that what Mr. Twe is saying is actually what the law says. He didn't quote any law. He just said the legislature passed a law. I mean, we don't know what that law is. I don't know what the law says. The actual context of the law, I don't know. But was it Fagon that said these people serve at the will and pleasure of the government, or it was Jeru that said it? They serve at the will and pleasure of the president.
Yes.
Why are you talking about holding a salary? Is that an effective deterrence to someone not performing a statutory responsibility? It's not. You just say, I mean, even if you suspended them, that's not an effective deterrence for somebody not to perform their statutory responsibility. And that's the reason why Councillor Gonglo has said consistently that transparency and accountability will be key things in his administration. And every single political leader who has put himself or herself out there to replace these people have to make sure that transparency and accountability will be key pillars in the administrations. This is on serious talk. Absolutely on serious talk. I will withhold their salaries. As if they say that chairman living with the government. I don't understand it.
Yeah. Molly, tell me, what are you thinking? These guys have at least 4 or 5 more months before elections. And he's now talking about accountability, holding people accountable for performing their jobs. Was it just a big show in front of the EU representative, or is it serious?
Well, you asked, your first question was what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking is the reality. And the reality is Samuel Tuer has admitted, I don't know if it was today or yesterday, but Samuel Tuer has admitted that for the last 5.5 years, the government has not been working. Absolutely not been working. And that is so true. Because when we were coming up, most time when we hear, I'm starting with Samuel Tuer's own ministry first. When we hear the finance ministry, we hear that the finance ministry is the engine of the economy. It is the fulcrum on which the economy rotates. You go to the finance ministry today, nothing is happening there. Nobody works. The finance minister goes to work along with the president to Jamaica Resort. And nothing is happening. The only thing that happens is that there are allotments. They go there. The people who are supposed to get allotment, they cut their share. They give the balance to the people. I know of a story from the guys from Cary. They were allotted some $300,000. They went there. They got the allotment. And Samura Wolokoli said they got to give him $60,000 of that $300,000 from Cary. That why Cary is so dormant. So they crack, they get the $60,000 and they sign for $300,000. So now they got to go to Cary, make some fake report, to account for $300,000. So what Samuel Tuer has simply told us is that we have not done anything over the last 12 years. I mean, the last 5.5 years. And it also tells me that the legislature is not playing the oversight responsibility. I don't know for some reason whether that Juju Jowiya deal with them or what, but they just are not working. Because the truth is, before, what I understand is that every quarter, the executive branch is supposed to give budget performance report. And it is that budget performance report that is supposed to tell the Liberian people the level of work the government is doing. So if you pass a budget for 300 million, 500 million, and this and that, blah, 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 Health Ministry, for example, get 50 million there. And they have allotted over the first 3 months, they've allotted 10 to 15 million. Before they get the next allotment, they're supposed to make report on how they've used the first 15 million on their projects. That is not happening, but you just can't, you keep giving for 5 years. So that today it caught Samuel Tuer attention to say, oh, when you may report, we will not pay you. Pay your what?
Yeah, because we're coming to October 10th.
When you get the people allotment, whether you pay the minister or not, the minister will get paid for that allotment. So what does he really care about whether you pay him his sales of $5,000 or not? I thought in his zeal, in his zest to make big show in front of the European Union, he actually exposed the entire government, the ineptitude of the entire government. That is the reason why sometimes it ain't good to just rush fast to talk. You may be talking and thinking that you are talking the right thing, but you are actually exposing yourself. So Samuel Tuer exposed the entire government. He has told the Liberian people that for the last 5.5 years, they've not done anything. There's no report. And I'm even worried the next government that will be coming as to whether they will even give a fitting turnover note. Because if the ministries are not being reporting, what turnover note you're going to give? Lastly, it also tells me one thing, that most of the things the president been reporting in his annual messages are not true, because the ministries and agencies have not been reporting. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I want Mr. Gibbs, Mr. Jerry, I want you to expand on what he just said. The consequences of not getting report again. We have, for example, the health ministry. If the health ministry is not giving quarterly report, how does that impact Liberians? Let's talk to our regular Liberian people. If the agriculture ministry is not giving report quarterly, as we are hearing here, or I mean, hypothetically, because I don't know who gave report and who didn't give report, how does that impact Liberians?
My understanding is the agencies and the ministries report is transformed into the budget performance report. How? If the health ministry makes a report of the budget they receive over the year or whatever the month, if it's quarterly report or maybe biannual report, when the finance minister is making his budget performance report, he takes the report from these various agencies and put them in his budget performance report to show that the projection they made over the last year, that projection was met, or it fell below the projection, or even they spent more than what they expected to spend. That can also show to the legislature whether the government is deliberately spending money beyond its appropriation. So ministry is supposed to be making the reports. Ministry is supposed to be telling the government or the people what they did with the money that were given to them over the years. Unfortunately, they have not been doing so. And my brother Falcon here mentioned that the government have failed to submit its budget performance report to the legislature for the past 4 or 5 years. And they have not been able to tell the legislature, we projected 500 million. We were able to raise 430 million, and we were able to spend 425 million. We have 5 million, in the coffers. Or we projected 500 million, and then we have a little bit over the 500 million we have spent it. And so this is what we did. And before you spend more than the allocated budget allowance, you must have been able to go back to the legislature to do what they call budget transfer. So you can't just go ahead and just do budget transfer tomorrow morning. Maybe the health ministry is supposed to spend maybe 20 million. And because of something that happened and the health ministry needed additional 5 million, and the president wanted to take that money from maybe agriculture ministry and transfer that money to health, you got to go back to the legislature and request for transfer of that fund, unless it is already unless it's already enacted into the bill, and say the president, can make transfer at any time he wants. Otherwise, you got to go back to ask for transfer. So the reports are very important for the public to know how these ministries are using the money. This is why the U.S. ambassador the other day was saying,
yes,
he traveled to this place. The government claimed that they collected money for hospital, and you go there and nothing is happening there.
Yes,
because they're not accountable. They're not showing accountability, and the failure to show accountability, it has a ripple effect. It shows that the government is not even it does not have fiscal discipline. I mean, we can't even argue that they have fiscal discipline because we don't know what they have spent, how they spend it, where they spend it, what is the turnover, what is the benefit, how can we measure all of that when they are not even making a report? So Samuel Tuah may have a point that they should make their report, but I still believe that you're not even going to go to Eugene Nangbe to suspend Eugene Nangbe's salary, to be honest with you. There are certain people who will not even be touched. He will never touch Eugene Nangbe's salary. He will never touch the information minister's salary. He will not touch the internal affairs minister's salary. He will not touch the post salary. Maybe somebody, the boss company, the national boss company, whatever it is. Those are people who are all the way down there. They want to punish because these people, they don't have blood. But Eugene Nangbe will not be affected. All the line ministers who appear before the president every day, the president friends in government, they're not going to touch the salary. This is just a small screen. He's just doing this as a propaganda to show to the people that the ministry is taking accountability. They are down, tough on their ministers and their agencies.
Okay, Mr. Gibson, let me move on to Mr. Fagon. Mr. Fagon, I really like talking about how the Ma Mary Mr. Colley, how they are impacted by this lack of accountability, because ultimately Liberian people are the one impacted.
Yeah.
You are here a couple of days ago, we were talking about this school in Bon County somewhere that have been closed since 2016. No teachers. Do you think if, maybe the Ministry of Education were giving reports on different schools and stuff like that, I'm just giving a hypothetical situation, would this then Temitope wouldn't have to come to say give report, otherwise you would not get your salary? What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, let's look at what's the essence of the budget performance report. You want my mirror, so let my mirror hear me small. Let me back on, with the too much book business. You may have marketing, you say, I go in the market, I won't go Tobagi. You got to buy the bitter ball, Tobagi, or the soda, the labeling, the fish, all I want. If you know that all today I carry $5 in the market or $25, I buy it in there. That means next time when you go in the market, you say you want to go Tobagi, you will know exactly how much to carry. The budget performance report allows us to understand the performance of past or previous budgets, how they related to present-day economic issues, and what we need to do to project. Okay, that's why they say the budget is a projection. That's why you send a draft budget.
Yeah.
Okay? Muku has not been doing this for the past 5.5 years like that. How does it impact the ordinary person? Now, if you don't know the budget performance report, the legislature is responsible for what? Appropriations. The performance here in this community will allow them to say, the 100,000 people over the last time, we're getting 25,000. You didn't make it. So this year, let's get them 50,000.
Yeah.
That will help inform them. But he's not been doing that. So the impact is negative. It has a negative effect on my Musu and my Mary. My Mary, they're sitting now in the community. If they don't have government only, if they don't have market, how will the legislature let us know that my Mary didn't have a problem?
Yeah.
How will they know? How will they know that the schools in Bokonjire that you saw in the picture don't have zinc? They wouldn't know. So Samuel Tuah said, 4 months to elections, knowing that Joseph Boakai now will be the next president. Look at Dr. Francis, look at me when I say she can give me an You don't want me to come back to you again. Okay, I'll be talking this first one.
Because y'all Joseph Boakai and Teron Conglo business not easy on this show here today. Every time I Joseph Boakai and Teron Conglo, you'll be talking
about Conglo about my big brother from 12th Street, so we Isa. So if Joe Boakai win, Teron wins at my house at the back. But so I'm talking too much for you. But all of them, good. They will be better than the one we have now. Period.
There will be budget performance report in any one of them.
I submit to you now that the impact on the people in the community or communities will be negative. And the reason for that is simple. 12 does not make appropriations. That's why 12 can be playing a voodoo economics and talking to people who don't understand, doing all here like this. The people that are supposed to make appropriations for you, for Slanga, for myself, if we were communities or institutions or whatever, the people that are supposed to do that do not get report on the previous performance of the budget. So who steal? Who is steal? What ministry got more? What ministry still got money? What ministry kept money? They don't know. And let me say this. The NTA buses you see today, 45 of them, that the Indian government gave it to us. Let's take it to be small children play. So what's the Indian project kind of they say, okay, our buses, what we get? Nothing. But I like that thing because Lami can always put it behind me. You want to take your ball from the fee. So what's the Indian post say? our fire truck gave back to us. What we get? It's because of these kind of things that the legislators making appropriations are kind of going along with 2 airlines and guessing what our people are actually supposed to get. And as a result of that, you can see Monrovia today. It's dirty and stank. I didn't say stinko, I said stank. Okay. As small children, when we say it stank, that means it beyond stink now.
That Arlington English is speaking there, so don't
yes, it's stank. So I submit now by saying Tue said something, and Mo said it, and maybe Jerry will say the same thing. Tue said 4 months to elections, it's time for serious government, meaning the last 5.5 years has been unserious. Hopefully, Joe Barker is going to fix it.
Thank you. Councillor
Dr. Richardson, I beg to interrupt before Councillor Kpagor can make his points. This is to announce that on the 9th of June, Friday, Spoon Talk is going to play host to Senator James P. Biney of Maryland County. He's going to break his silence. He's going to speak to key national issues as well. So Senator James P. Biney is going to be our guest on Spoon Talk for Friday, the 9th of June, 2023.
EDC is never ever going to get my support. Let me repeat this. All the lies they are lying and this they are saying, the day I support Jawia, I'm gonna die. I can never ever support Jawia. No amount of money is enough for me to support the evil that is happening against our people today. But at the same time, just because one evil is happening to us today, I will not willingly with my eyes open jump inside another evil. But
sorry about that technical glitch.
That breaking news. All right, that came through the grapevine. They call it breaking news.
Yeah. So that happens here. Well, you got a taste of what's going to happen on June 9th when Senator Biney is here. So stay tuned. Councillor Kpagor. Go ahead, talk.
Just to point something out, because I remember the other day, there was an invitation given to Professor Tokpa to come back on Friday. So are we going to have the senator and the professor in the studio at the same time? That would be really good fireworks. I'm looking forward to it.
No, I don't think so.
So I mean, we need to also ask, was Mr. Tue, and probably maybe Slanger can play the tape again so we can understand what the minister was saying. Was he asking for expenditure reports, or he was asking for budget performance report? Because I mean, in my own mind, I think that would be slightly different. There will be a nuance between.
Let's play again, please.
Because the budget performance report, I think the finance ministry can generate that before really asking other people. So the expenditure report, I think probably that's what he's talking about. And that's key. If these people are spending money and not telling you how they're spending it, what they're spending it on, and whether they're even spending it on what they should be spending it on, then we have serious trouble on our hands in this country. And like Ali was saying, even though that's not a good excuse to say they will not leave any turnover note, because if they don't leave turnover note, we just seek the GSE on them. And we are going to seek the GSE on them. The GSE will find, if the GSE find that they didn't have proper systems in place, they can account for the monies that they receive under our Gonglo administration, they will vomit that money. You know what you can say on the 4x feet? They will vomit the money, right? They will vomit that money. They will not keep it. Yeah. So because before I continue, let really hear what the minister said so we can be more informed.
Go ahead, play again, Slanger.
Yeah.
All ministers have to report on time. The law says if a minister is not reporting on time, a law, we not exercise that law, the Minister of Finance can hold the salary of the head of the entity. I didn't make that law. The national legislature passed that law. So we're about to move there. If there are entities that are not reporting, the minister will hold your salary. And we are saying that we want to enforce that law. Recently, you saw American National in one of his public statement, he mentioned that 45% of the government entities are not reporting. I have the responsibility as Minister of Finance to implement the public financial management law. I could be asked the question, why are you not holding salary of persons? What will be my response? But we got to move from this Bakuna thing to serious governance because the Bakuna thing have been holding us down. So I'm making it clear here that I think the IA is going to a score sheet where entities that are not reporting on time will be flagged. We'll release a public report to see who's reporting and who's not reporting. It is your responsibility when we receive public money to account and report it. That's where audits begin. If there are no reports, there can be no audit because the guy will just go in and do nothing. I just display. So we're committed to making sure that public financial management and governance reaches the next level under this program. So we're really onto something here. We're really onto something under the Paris Agenda for Aid Effectiveness. Let's use this momentum to show that agenda that we signed several years ago is not a waste, and that the EU can be a flagship partnership for countries across the world. And let's set the example here. On financial governance, we know public financial management, the PFAS school, all those things are the EU pays attention to. Governance, the president declared.
There you have it, Dr. Richardson. That's the full length of the clip.
So, Councillor Parkour.
So I mean, there's one part of the clip there that the minister said we are onto something. It's like he made a discovery of the century. And I don't really understand why we will have people. I mean, if what the minister is saying is anything to go by, that you will have the colleagues who have been in government all these years, and they will not be making reports.
45%. I heard
45% of them. And it would be good to disaggregate that 45% to know exactly which agencies. Is this public works? Is this those agencies that really spend a lot of money on building capital infrastructure and stuff like that?
I mean, I can name somebody 45% for you when it comes.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah, Wally, you'll be next.
Yeah. So we need to know. We need to disaggregate that number. We need to know whether these people are the people receiving the largest chunks of the budget, so we can know how our monies are being wasted. And frankly speaking, in all seriousness, under Ogonglo administration, the GSE will go after those people. It will audit them, and the people who are found wanting. Even if you are not involved in corruption, we cannot prove that you stole the money. But if you spend the money wastefully, you vomit that money. We probably won't prosecute you for corruption because to prove a crime is a different issue. It's a high bar. But to prove that somebody did not perform their duty properly, that's a lower bar. We'll go after you for that, for wasting government resources. And there was a time in the country where people appointed to government position used to give bonds. They used to give financial bonds to the government to serve as guarantee. And I think there's a law. I will find out law next time we're on the show so I can read it to the public. People used to be required to provide bonds when they are sent to certain government positions. We probably need to reinstitute measures like that to put fear in people who would think they can just come into government, pillage the government, and do whatever they want to do, and they just go scot-free. We need to probably reintroduce that.
Yeah, and I think that we need to do a research on the law that says that Samuel Tuah can hold people's salary. That doesn't seem to be adding up to me too much, but hopefully we'll find that law. And you guys, you the lawyer, Councillor Parkour, you the lawyer here, you can help us with that.
I will try to find that law.
Yeah, Mwali, I smell corruption. I'm sorry. I'm smelling wastefulness, which I believe is a form of corruption or incompetency. And you made a good point here when you said, the reports the president he has been given to Liberians. Where is he getting it from if he wasn't getting performance reports? So can you speak on that, Mwali? Am I right to be thinking corruption happening here or incompetency? Something's happening. It's like money not been added up.
When people want to be corrupt, they can be incompetent because in their mind they will hide behind the incompetence to make up for the corruption. I can bet some of those ministries, from the things that we've been seeing and hearing that are not reporting, one on that list will be Ministry of Health. Because I talk with health people, Dr. Francis, I did biology for my first degree. My intention was to go to the medical school. So most of my colleagues went there. They are now medical doctors, right? You talk to them, they complain. The hospitals they are working to, some of them are chief medical officers in counties. They don't get allotment easily. They don't get what is required for drugs, or even the little things like glove and stuff to check patients and all those kind of things. Another one I am thinking that also is now reporting is the Ministry of Public Works. Ministry of Public Works cannot even give a good report on the road form. They cannot account for even the community roads they're building. And the reason why they can't give report is because they are giving so much money for small community roads. My understanding is that the small road to Nathaniel McGee Road and Nathaniel McGee House, they pay almost $1 million for it.
Wow.
Or more. Now, if that was a standard road, it's less than a kilometer, as I know it. Maybe you say yes, but it's in the community. So they're not making these reports because they are stealing. And to be stealing and making report at the same time, sometimes it can be really, really difficult because you can put in things and sometimes you get confused about what you want to put in. I listened to it again. The clip. The man said they will not pay the ministry. And Gibson made a point there. When I listened to him, that not only the minister they were not going to pay, they will cease. That the entire ministry. So that means that the sweepers are those ministries that are not making report deliberately because of the negligence of the minister.
Yeah.
The civil servants that will suffer. The civil servants who are genuinely working and probably making report, and the ministers cannot submit those reports, they will suffer. And the reason why they will suffer again is because when a payroll goes to the Ministry of Finance, the minister is not separate from it. They send the entire payroll, the minister, the deputy ministers, the assistants, the civil servants, the director, everybody there. So Samuel Twe is saying he will cease the pay, the salaries of all of those people that are at the ministry. It's something to look at. You cannot suffer the civil servants because the minister is not working. But I would like to say to Councilor Kpakwe, I don't think basically this is a budget performance report. And even if it were a budget performance report, I believe the expenditure report feeds into the budget performance report. Because what you're spending is what we're budgeted for. And so when you make that expenditure report, it's what the ministry compiles into the budget performance report. Say, for example, the Ministry of Health is supposed to upgrade the laboratory at certain hospitals, and the money is allotted. So that money needs to be accounted for. They need to make report for it. So these are the things that are not happening. And that's why they are not getting budget performance report.
Somebody phone ringing. Please mute yourself. Go ahead, Mwali. You are speaking. Is that your phone?
Yes, I was saying the expenditure report supposed to feed into that budget performance report, and the ministries are now making 40. He said 45% are almost 50%.
Yeah.
Of government there that are making report. So these things are the ones that have helped to cripple this government. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm smelling corruption. That's what I'm smelling. Okay. And it's a way to, dig hole, cover hole with the labyrinth money. And interestingly, sometimes I wonder that the people that give us money, are they not seeing what we are seeing? They continue to give us money But again, let's have our final word on this matter, and then we'll definitely go to our next topic. Any final thoughts? We'll start with you, Mr. Jeru, and then go to Fargon, and then Mr. Parkour, and then Moali. You mute that on me, yourself.
Recently, I watched a video in which the finance minister was praising the Ministry of Transport. And in that video, if I did get what he said, that the Transport Ministry had made 90% contribution to the national budget.
Mm-hmm.
So now he is crying that this is the time to start serious government. Now, those are the things that we need. I don't know why. How did he, when people are not making reports, how did he come up with that? Is still to be, to be told. We are still there to be told. How did he come up with the 90%? There's no way for us to believe that, because we don't have anything before us. There's nothing that we talk about expenditure report. If these expenditure reports are coming into the ministry will be able to transcribe them into the budget performance report. Because the budget performance report is a holistic report by the government, giving to the legislature that, look, the budget you approve, this is what we did, this is what we used, this is what is left. So let's look at Agriculture Ministry, for example. If Agriculture Ministry is not making report, and we have not seen any practical project from the Agriculture Ministry for the past 5 years. I mean, guys, I'm all the way here, and I go to Liberia once in a while, but if you have any practical projects, anything that is practical from the Ministry of Agriculture, you let us know. They have not done it. They have been receiving budget for the time President Weah became president. What have they done with the money? That's where the expenditure report is very important. That's how we're going to know whether the Agriculture Ministry is working. Take the Internal Affairs Ministry, for example. Those days, we used to see the paramount chief used to get paid. And I was just reading right now, the government of Liberia is pending its approval to paying paramount chiefs and providing them. Let me go there, and they say they're going to provide them with salary, provide them with official government vehicle, and their salary for the chief administration. So I just visited Grand General recently. I was talking to the paramount chief, and he doesn't even have a bicycle. I don't know how these things are said on the national scene and they are not transmitted on the local scene. So if the Ministry of Internal Affairs is receiving money to organize our internal activities, what is the work that the Internal Affairs Ministry is actually doing? The expenditure report will be able to outline those items that they have expended the government funds on. You talk about a school in Bombing there that is not being taken care of. What about Agriculture Minister? The Ellen Johnson-Sirleaf dismissed the Agriculture Minister, the Education Minister, because of poor performance. So are we going to see something like that with the Minister of Education not being able to, first of all, not making expenditure report? Then there are institutions of government that are under his care, that are dilapidated, they are not being taken care of, but yet still he claims to be an education minister. Those are things we need to be looking at. So it is unfortunate that Samuel Tuah now is becoming serious 4 months to the election, and now they are ready for serious government. For the past 5 years, I don't know why they didn't institute that. They should have started a long time. But again, President Weah doesn't care about those things. I don't think he cares. I think he only cares that his friends are in government. They are doing what they're supposed to do, meet somewhere, knock glasses. And I think he's fine with that. He's fine with that. So I don't think he's really serious with that.
So Councillor, Mr. Jeru, are you saying that you wouldn't hold people's salary, you just fire them? Yes or no?
For me, I talk about suspension. Mo Ali says suspension is not even sufficient.
Okay.
So Mo Ali is
suspension.
Yeah, I believe they should be suspended.
Okay, for that
them and say you as the finance minister, not finance minister, the maritime commissioner. I keep going to him. The maritime commissioner has been suspended for his failure to submit a 5 months report or a 2 years report to the government for expenditure report.
But Jeru, let me ask this. Gibson, Jeru, let me ask this. You're probably supposed to submit a report monthly, right? Maybe monthly. You submit for whole 5 months. What should keep you on that job? Because you know one way that government is losing money every day.
Well, hold that thought. Let me just take in my order a little bit. Hold that thought, but because I'm going to ask every one of you guys the same question. He says suspend, and you justify what you think should be done, whether it's holding salary. Mr. Fagon, your final word, and also please add: would you suspend, fire, or meeting them on the job? But you can also add what your thoughts are and answer my question.
Actually, the action has occurred. We will definitely fire the government on October 10. So that means when all of those guys will go. And Lamin Pago said we'll make them vomit the money because we're sending people after them. Did anyone of you have the chance to watch the hearing of the Road Fund people today?
No, I didn't.
The next hearing will be on Friday. I am so happy that I saw Dr. Henry Tupa, Darius Dillon. You guys go back and look for that tape. They went there with a hand swinging.
Can you get on it, Dama?
Maybe I could try to send you a portion of it.
Please do.
And guess what happened today? Just to give you on the scene budget performance report. I recall that, I've been running behind your cousin Billy. She come look at me, who my cousin?
No, my cousin.
They went there today and they couldn't find the records of the Road Fund. Dr. Francine said, I'm a professor at this college. You go in front of the University Senate, they ask you for this, I get it. They ask you for this, I get it. Something fishy was there. It will interest you to note that the officer in charge, who is now before the Senate, when asked about the Road Fund, said her deputy did not turn over to her. That was a big lie. I watched the program live of the turning over ceremony. I watched it, right, Jeru? We watched the turning over ceremony. And lying to the Senate is perjury. But she said the guy did not turn over to her. Interestingly today, Dr. Francine, guess what kind of document they asked for from the LRA 2? They sent for the LRA to print out a document. LRA said they can't find it.
Wow.
$20 million is gone missing. And Belete Company, the Shrinex, according to the officer in charge, they were there today. When I said that thing here, they said it won't pass my head. Owes $5.9 million. Here is the interesting thing that happened today. Like Mo is saying, like we are saying, those are also play around government. It is captured in the budget that is submitted. So if that money is not paid, it means we have a what? Budget shortfall. Would we be able to stay in front of you and say, oh, hey, the performance report, what performance report? LRA is supposed to tell you why streamers have not paid. The report was ended out in 2023, the same year. The money owed is 5.9 million. That's just Streamex. What about the other people? Now they're supposed to go back on Friday. If I were there, I would just run away. And I'm forced to go there. I will run away and just sit down to my house. Because how do you defend such a thing over the years? And then we kind of worried, and we are sitting here discussing budget performance report. How will the budget perform when just today, hours ago, LRA run away, they get no document. The other person say they maintain over note to them, so they cannot account for it. And we already projected it into our national budget. So definitely, say we don't know where it's coming from, no document for it, it's gone missing. That ends the story here tonight about the budget performance report and 12 allegations of other people not reporting to him. As to what,
please mute yourself.
As to what should happen to them, I'm not worried about what should happen to them because I know what will happen to them. What will happen to them is that they're going to be fired on October 10th. The investigation will begin into all of the hula baloo, and the appropriate course of action will be taken. And I want to submit to all of you tonight that Gonglo, Moniba, Kumis will all be working with JMB to make sure that the country have a better future. Those people will be on board, and we will move forward. And anybody responsible, whether it be them or the others, will be held to account for their actions. That is what I am submitting to you. October 10th, they will be fired.
You left fun, Faga. You left fun, So you know, it's concerning. You know, just put your joke aside. It's concerning that I'm sort of sensing there's no continuity in government. When you say to me, even though I didn't see that tape yet, that one person is saying, "Oh my, when this person came in power, or when the person came to the office, I didn't get any report." You know, and that is not helpful for Liberia at all. You know, that doesn't give us a good name in terms of the way that we develop. And I also want to say, I think Bility was here before, and he said that he made payment arrangement with the government. We'll have to follow up on that. Yes, he admitted that his government does his company owes the government, but he made payment arrangement. So, Councilor Lami Fakok, go ahead. Would you fire or keep? And what are your thoughts?
I mean, I will have fired them with the very first offense. I will fire them. I mean, it's a no-brainer. We shouldn't be even arguing on whether the person should be suspended or the person should be fired. There should be no sympathy for people who go into the public space and betray the public trust. There should be no sympathy for them. If the person is your friend, you and the person can be friends on one side, but on let's assume that Liberia was your private company. Will anyone tolerate that thing if Liberia was our private company? And somebody's action is going to cut into your profit margin, you won't tolerate it. You won't say, okay, let me allow the person to have a lackadaisical behavior towards their work. You will take stern action against them. So we should treat, like Councilor Gonglo always said, Liberia is a company, and every one of us has equal shares. Every one of us. My shares are good as yours, and every other person, regardless of what the person is. Especially when we come to voting day, we all have only one share we can put in our bags. When you go there, apart from the people who are babies or below the age of 18, or the people who elected not to register to vote, the rest of us have only one share each. We have to go and put it. So we have to treat it like we're treating our own company. We have to treat the country like that. If you do not want to be accountable, do be a private person. Have your private company. Do not take money from anybody. Use your own personal resources and do whatever you want to do. Nobody will complain. Yeah. But when you stray into the public sphere, then you got to be accountable. You know, like what Eugene was saying, people go to a public hearing at the legislature and they say, we don't have documents. We don't have reports. We can't account for this. We can't account for that. I mean, that's sad. That should not happen anywhere in this country at any time. It shouldn't be tolerated. You know, a lot of times we like to be sympathetic because they will say, do not fire the person because, you know, that the person's, you're taking food from the person's family mouth. But, you know, if you keep that person there, you know how many other people you're keeping food from their family mouth? I always tell people we have to have intolerance for bad behavior in this country. You have to have
Yes.
absolute intolerance for bad behavior. If someone is corrupt, that person should have a one-strike rule. The person is out, because there are 50 other people who are equally qualified, probably better qualified, that cannot get that job because that corrupt person is sitting there.
Yeah.
So we should have absolute intolerance for bad behavior. That should be our attitude in this country. When you're in a public service, if you're a minister or government, you step all about, you go. They got 20,000 other people who can be minister, probably better qualified than you or equally competent like you. So that's the attitude we should have. That's the attitude. Wow. So for me, first strike, it will be a one-strike rule.
Okay.
Dr. Richardson, I just have information to share.
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Falcon was talking.
Okay.
No, the stuff roll on the screen, and that came from. That's what you want to share, right?
The Public Finance Management Regulations. That's the Public Finance Management Act of 2009. You guys were asking what law. So if you go and read the Public Finance Management Act of 2009, there is a portion there that outlines the powers and the functions of the finance minister. There you see some of that is section C.2, responsibilities and authority of the minister. Talking about the finance minister, you read all of the functions and responsibilities of the finance minister, including formulating policies to make sure those who are entrusted with public funds do report their actions or inactions. So you can check that act of 2009. There was just information I decided to share because you asked about the law, and I
So in that act, it says that he can hold people salary for that.
He can come up with actions. He can come up with policies to make sure people are accountable for public funds that are given to them.
So he is coming out that his action is to hold people.
So if the law gave him the authority to make secondary legislation, because that's what it's called. If the legislature, because the legislature passes the primary legislation, and then they gave you authority to make regulations or executive orders, or not executive orders because that's the president's prerogative, or what they call whatever directives and all that kind of stuff. They are secondary legislation. So, but what Twice said, says the law said I should do this. He didn't say the law said I should make rules. So if the law
policy
to make rules or policies, then it means that, but the law will not give him rule to make policy like that. The law will not give him that kind of authority. That because I mean you can delegate that kind of authority to say one minister can treat another minister like his houseboy. You can't delegate that kind of authority.
So this is count 9, as you said. The minister shall coordinate, supervise, and monitor the management of government financial and physical assets and liabilities, including donations and loans. The minister shall also ensure adequacy of internal control, internal audit system while consulting the Auditor General when considered necessary. There are other counts that are there. So it's long, it's quite long. There are several counts.
The specific count that says you can withhold people's salary. We need to find out because when you are making reference to
reading through this, that one not there. Leave it. It's not there.
Okay, when you find out one that say he can hold people's salary, please let me know that the one I'm interested in. But I hear the one that say he can make rules, he can make policy and stuff like that. Yeah. But Moali, take us home on this subject matter, and then we'll go to our second subject before we go to the phone lines.
Since this is embroiled into corruption, I'd like to begin by this, ending from where Fagon started on the issue of the raw funds. And I was saying, I bet the Ministry of Public Works is one of those that is not making reports, as even evidenced by the officer in charge saying that there was no turnover note to her, because the raw funds is one of the major things, and that was what was being investigated today. They're not making reports. So, for example, from 2016 to 2018 or so, about 27 million, because all petroleum importers were paying to Mr. Bility, my friend, Tank Farm. About 27 million was collected. All were now reported, about 20 million of that. And guess what? When the government talked about it, they ran to the justice in chambers at the time, and I'm bringing this background because this was one of the reasons for which Justice Janneh was impeached. They ran to Justice Janneh, and he put a still order on the entire process. That was one of the reasons why he was impeached, because that roll phone thing, his ruling on the roll phone, and then some land issue, blah blah blah. So you can see how far and how dangerous this roll phone issue became, or how far it went, to the extent that a sitting associate justice of the Supreme Court was impeached. Samuel Tuer, who when he took over, also connived to take some of the roll phones. They took it under the canopy of the one-pay civil servants, even though they say the budget is overly performing or revenue collection. These are some of the reasons why the Ministry of Public Works will not report. And like I said, I would be surprised if they give the next government a turnover note. Because if one minister is turning over from the public works to an officer in charge, and the officer in charge is claiming that there was no turnover note, so how are they continuing with road projects that are under the Ministry of Public Works? How are they continuing with infrastructure projects that are under the Ministry of Public Works? How are they, in fact, continuing with payment of debts to contractors when there were no turnover notes to her? So one person is lying there. It's either the outgoing, the person that turned over the minister, then turned over the note, but there's a whole lot of loopholes in it, and this current minister or this current officer in charge does not want it exposed, or the turnover note is just not there. Either is true. And to the question of what will I do, look, if you were given money as a minister or as a ministry and you are overseeing the ministry and you cannot report, it means that there is no performance. Nobody should be to any working place if you are not performing. All of us here work in a private entity, in private sector. The moment more coming in, you worry about your report.
Yes.
And that should be no different from government. Because in government, every one of us here contribute. Everybody in the country pay tax. Even the baby that is born today, when you go buy milk for that baby, they pay tax on it. This time, in fact, you go to a restaurant, they do it there in America now. The tax is there different. You will see the tax is written on the I think they call it GST or something. And that money that going to government, then we'll get our high-end money. The one who work for or who hustle for, somebody just sit down in the corner and eat it free of charge.
Yeah.
Then they say, that government. So they must be fired on first offense. You report, you sack. There are so many qualified librarians who want to work and contribute honestly. If the dishonest ones are there, take them off.
Yes.
That's my take on it.
Yes, Liberia gotta be developed one way or the other, and it's very surprising that this hearing, Mr. Fagon and buttressed by you, Marley, that there's no continuity. Like this report are being missing. What be it the roll fund or any other fund, those reports are so instrumental to the continuity of government. So let's move on, and we only have a few more minutes, and we'll just
no. Can I wanted to say something.
Go ahead.
And tomorrow we elaborate on it further. And Dr. Francine, you were right on this platform when I said to Musa Pelete, you owe 5.9 million. He sent some documents that he was only owing 400,000 today. LRA and the road fund appear in front of the Senate. And what the LRA said, he has not paid one dime. He owes 5.9 million. LRA was very specific. And then the road fund confirmed that document that they put up of the 5.9 million is legit. He owes that money. Now, the Senate is like, how are we going to do this thing? 20 million projected into the budget, and now people are saying they don't even have the money to pay. So what kind of budget are we operating? And I'm submitting to you, these are some of the things, when you see people like us say, Mr. Kumi should go back and kind of look in his circle and see what's going on, especially with this new revelation. I'm sure Kumi should come out and say, Belete, you my friend. I'll drive you around in the car. But you took this money. It's the Liberian people tax money that they pay. They didn't borrow it to you. And now you owe the money. The two institutions have gone and said, can you settle this matter for the sake of my character? Because I'm preaching clean hands. 5.9 million is no small money. So again, I put to you that this is scary. That this is happening, and tomorrow we'll play the tapes in bits and pieces so you can see it and hear it. I'll be surprised, and I will call on Delon to resign if that lady is confirmed. You already start lying for people, and LRA is coming up now and exposing you. You should go home. You shouldn't be there. So we shouldn't be fired now. They should be fired from right today. They should go home.
So yes, and I'm glad that you're on that topic, and we're moving.
Let me just say something quickly. Fagon, do you think it would be a good thing to be asking the government to, especially where they illegally impeached or Supreme Court justice over this particular matter? Don't you think it would be a good thing to be pushing these government people to drag Mr. Belete to court to squeeze the money out of him, instead of just bashing it on another person all the time, as if to say the person has some kind of fiduciary responsibility to make sure one of his supporters pays money that is owed to us? I mean, why continue doing that? Our Supreme Court justice was illegally impeached because of this same thing, and these people impeached him because of the thing 3-4 years ago, and his stuff is still simmering up to today. So why can't we just put pressure on them to go after Mr. Belete? Under the law, if Mr. Belete can pay the money, they will liquidate his assets and get as much as they can get from it. That should be the core. So forget about this every time.
First, let's have a correction.
Everybody's time. Let's stop that thing and get the people who have responsibility to deal with the issue. Let's go after them.
Okay, thank you. Thankfully, I didn't interrupt you, but I'll say this to you. When you say a chief justice, an associate justice was illegally removed, I would prefer you use the legal mind to say he was fraudulently removed through the legal means. He was
illegally removed. He was illegally removed.
I'm not going to argue.
Hold on, let me finish. What is illegal about impeachment? There's nothing illegal about it.
Well, the law says you cannot impeach him for something that he did as far as the law. It's legal. It's illegal.
Okay.
No, why I can't finish?
Chancellor Parker, just let me finish, because
no, just trying to correct you. We can proceed to what you want to talk about.
You cannot correct me on that one. I will tell you that.
Mr. Fagon.
Here is why. You cannot go to a jury trial, and after you present your case, you as a lawyer, and the jury say we find this man not guilty.
Talk about Justice Janice, please trust me.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but not today.
You cannot go, Dr. Richardson. The Senate acts as a jury. I'm a political science student.
That's an illegal. Impeachment. Let's proceed. This thing was
no, we will not proceed. I will use this opportunity.
It was an illegal impeachment. So don't come in. Let me keep government. Everyone there was spinning it. The wrong thing.
Okay, give me chance.
Listen, I'm going to
let you pass. Give me chance. I'll let you talk. Let me talk. The Liberian people say, "Oh, if I go, you can interrupt." But they leave you talk. They want to you talk. They want to you talk. Let me talk. That offensive say you talk your I'm gonna talk my Let me talk my The Senate acts as a jury in this trial of an impeachment. Both sides present their case. And the jury, which is the Senate in this case, will vote to make a determination whether you're guilty or not guilty. And if they do, the ruling in your case is impeachment. Does that mean what they did there was right? No. But the procedure there was legal. Yes. I'm teaching you, Lami. That's the way it works.
Okay,
so
Pastor
at
Lami,
the end of the day,
my man, Eugene.
we go back to the road fund.
Pastor Lami, let's move
Yeah, I
on.
mean, I
We
finished
go
that
back to
thing.
the road
They were
fund.
involvement, they spin that thing all gonna way, so you want to defend it. Like the reason why he's still
Well,
talking.
yeah, my
Okay,
brother.
listen. We got
We go
another
back to the road
topic.
fund.
There's another topic. Actually, I'm moving along.
Let me finish on the road fund. He asked a question.
Let's move
And
along.
Musa
We're going to
Ability-
discuss. We're going to discuss. As you talk about that, how
Now,
did
Musa Ability, she want to talk about Musa.
no,
Okay.
no.
Okay,
I want us to
proceed,
talk about
Musa.
Musa Ability. I want us to talk, but also today, I read in Daily Observer that Cintal, the Center for Transparency and Accountability, because Musa Ability is accountable to the Liberian people. I agree. Okay, I agree that whoever is in charge of having him bring his receipts or whatever should do that job. Likewise, the same thing. I agree that Senator Kuhn, Jeremiah Kuhn, in the paper says he had his private hospital in the national budget. That is the same, almost very close to the same matter. All right.
No, it is not close.
Okay.
Here is why it's not close, because the senator was sitting here when a gentleman called and said, "You owe me money, 2,000." You forgot that issue? The gentleman called and said, "Senator Kuhn owe him
Let's
2,005."
talk about that. In the Daily Observer, it says.
Now, why I come into the Daily Observer?
Okay, come.
And Senator Kuhn said, "No, I built the hospital and turned it over to the government."
Do we have paper to show that? That was what the argument that was made.
Let me finish now.
Yes, finish. Go
Let
ahead.
me finish.
Mhm.
Whatever the government does with our hospital, I have nothing to do with it. I built it and I turned it over to the government. I am submitting to you, madam, that when you build something and turn it over to the government for the government, it's for the government. The fact that I built it does not mean I'm the one running it or own it. If anyone has an issue with money in the budget for that hospital, they should talk to the government. Now, if you want documentation with respect to that, then of course I submit to you that you ask the government whether the hospital is for Mr. Kuhn or it's for them. They will be the best people now to explain. I think that's what's supposed to happen, because he said, yeah, right before you, the gentleman called and said, too far. He said, I don't owe you. That hospital is for the government. And the government is supposed to take care of her responsibility, not me. I was the one that built it, but I am not the one running it or own it now. It's for the government. Okay. And I think we will stick with that until someone else is proved otherwise.
Thank you. We
Thank
don't
you
have
very
a lot
much.
of time. We're going to be moving up. Okay. In today, the next topic. Okay. Today in the Daily Observer, Cintal, the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia, reported that Jeremiah Kuhn used his political influence to secure public funding to operate his private clinic, his clinic he built. He argued that what Falcon is arguing right here, Mr. Falcon is arguing right here, that he turned the hospital over to the government. But Cintal said they didn't find any transfer papers to say, the government is now the owner of this hospital. So again, in speaking about this whole accountability issue, okay, I wanted to sort of get your opinion on, is this a violation if we can find transfer paper or not? Or if we can find transfer papers, then we can kind of say that, there's no violation here. But anyway, we'll start. Actually, we'll come last to you. We'll go with Councillor Lami Paco. Please go ahead.
This allegation against the senator is nothing new when it comes to how the legislature has operated. They put these fraudulent amounts of monies in the budget to carry out personal largesse, either paying people school fees or building things for themselves and stuff like that. I mean, it's unfortunate that it's linked to somebody who is being termed to be rescue. You know, I mean, how can you be rescuing the country while at the same time being accused of corruption? So the key question here is, if by some kind of by something, if they come to power, because they've claimed that if they come to power, they will audit the previous administration. I hope that audit also includes the legislature. So if you're going to audit the previous administration and your potential vice president is being accused of corruption, can they tell us tonight? And I'm putting this challenge to Mr. Ali and Mr. Fagon. Can they tell us tonight that they will prosecute Mr. Kun for corruption, and the audit will also include the legislature if they are found wanting, because they are not immune from the law. They're not immune from prosecution. They can be prosecuted for anything other than views expressed in the chambers or in the legislature. Other than that, they can be prosecuted for anything. So will they commit to prosecuting Mr. Kun for corruption when the audit found that he's wanting? And if that would be the case, why take the risks of nominating somebody for vice president and then having to send them to prison and replace them with an appointed vice president? Why put the country through that? This is not new information. This is an information that's been out there for a while. These are the kind of corrupt things that have to stop in this country. Our government officials have to stop being the biggest philanthropists in the society. And that has happened all over the place. They put monies in the budget for self-aggrandizement, and they do all these things, all these crooked things and stuff like that. Centaur is a very credible organization. Centaur will not be putting that information out there if they were not sure what they're putting out there. So it's a challenge to all of us. If we want to rid the country of bad governance, all the bad characters that are being involved in bad decision making are people who got to keep far away from power. Absolutely far away from power. We cannot allow them to come close to the horse of power if they be involved in this kind of sleazy bad decision making. And the information out there about Mr. Kun is worrying. You know, you can't really have somebody that are close to power. He has to be kept far from power. So I'll put the challenge to them tonight. Are they going to put him on the list of the people who vomit our money? Firstly, investigate them and make sure they vomit our money and send them to prison if they are found wanting. Are they going to commit to that? Because these are two people who are high up in the Unity Party campaign. You know, this is something that
let me go first.
Thank you. Yeah, Mwali, coming
and I take the challenge, Councillor Bagon, and thank you for making the point. And we will really clarify this. The first thing is, Councillor Bagon, I have been working with and because he puts a challenge to, please give me a little bit of time to explain.
Yes.
I've been working with Ambassador Baka very closely since 2016. And I know his stance on corruption and the meticulous way in which he goes about to make decisions. When the entire country was crying, oh, Joseph Baka, when you need me, you're running mate, this and that. It's not like there were not options available. There were options available. Many options. But Joseph Boakai and every one of us had to investigate all of the options available to ensure that they were not stained with these kind of corrupt allegations. And like you said, the Centaur thing, which you term as quote-unquote credible, is now a new thing. I think that report came out somewhere in 2021, but it had been started to work on since 2019 or this and that. And so we did every background investigation into this particular matter, into Honorable Kun, and he has absolutely no wrongdoing in it. It was one of the bases on which Ambassador Baka depended to select it. Now, let me come to the hospital. When Senator Kun got built where they have as Jackie Hotel, when he bought it, his intent was to make it a hospital. And the Ministry of Health went and what do I want to say, assessed the facilities, and they told him, this facility does not pass for a hospital. That's how he sold the facility, that is Jackie Hotel today in Ganta, to Mr. Floyd Toma, a businessman. The money he got from there, his private money, that not my money, that not government library money, that not my pa money, that not my mom money. He took his private money and constructed a 116-bedroom hospital. When he constructed the hospital, he invited Madame Salif early 2016 to go and inspect the hospital. Madame Salif went there on an inspection tour, inspected the hospital, and invited the Ministry of Health. Ministry of Health went and inspected the hospital and qualified it. What happened? In July of 2016, an array of government officials led by Ambassador Boakai and the current Vice President Joel Howard Taylor went there and dedicated the hospital. It was not even run by then in his own name or collected a nickel or dime. What they did, they set up a foundation which ran the hospital from June 2016 to June 2019. And the proceeds from that hospital was reinvested into the hospital because it had no government funding at the time. Senator Kun did not take a nickel or a dime from that hospital. It was running under a foundation. And in June 2019, check the budget. June of 2019, the hospital was officially turned over to the government of Liberia. So the foundation which was set up to run the hospital washed its hand off it. Since then, it has been run by the Ministry of Health. Now, let me come to your very credible center. The guy who wrote that report, Senator Kun, protested against that report to the now head of LRA, Nado, Thomas Dona. Why? This guy, Miame, who spearheaded the writing of that report, vigorously campaigned for the sister of your standard bearer, Edith Gonglo Ware, who is the sister of Tiawan Gonglo. This guy was one of his campaign managers in the 2020 senatorial race. And because we who were supporting Edith at the time, we did not emerge as winner, this guy, Miame, still thought that I could get at Senator Kun. And when Dona left center and left him in charge, Miame thought he could bring some political auditing. So this is all about the politics, because the sister of your political leader, your standard bearer, who was our enemy in was defeated. This Miame guy did not take the defeat lightly. Now the challenge is back to you, Councillor Pagoy, and to Center, to prove on the contrary that since the construction of this hospital, that Senator Kun has reaped a nickel from there. If it is, Senator Kun will resign as Vice Standard Bearer of the Unity Party. I challenge you. It is an open challenge. And I'll tell you,
guys. You explain
Let
me just go to Mr. Gibson Jaru, okay?
They may ask me too, you say I'm gonna answer. Okay, but me, I want long story. I don't get a short answer.
Gibson
I have
Cheru, and then
to
we
explain
go
no
to our
story.
corner
I
to
just
meet
want
Let me
Gage.
give another
Gibson Cheru,
perspective.
Gibson
Okay.
Cheru, and I'm also
Yes.
looking to see the publication of the transfer paper that was sent to the hospitals officially transferred to the government, as Mo Ali said. It would be nice
Thank
to
you
have
very
that
much.
documentation. But go ahead, Gibson Cheru.
First of all, I will take another perspective. Speaking from my position as editor, I believe the reporter did not finish the story because the story has become Senta and Kun words. I think there are other places they need to go and verify the story. The Ministry of Health will be the right place to verify the story. The Budget Bureau will be the right place because before an item is included into the budget, the Director of Budget will have an idea of why it is being included in the budget.
Sure.
They can also visit the Senate.
So one correction quickly, we don't have Budget Bureau. It's now all under the Ministry of Finance.
Yeah, but they're still there. They still got a Director of Budget there. I know they merge everything.
Find out.
Yeah, the Department of Budget. So they need to go there and verify this story because the Ministry of Health will definitely know if Senator Kun has or did actually turn over the hospital to the government and the government was now the owner. The other question we need to ask ourselves with, when you say turn over, it raises a lot of questions for me. I'm thinking about leasing. I'm thinking about giving his building to the government to run the hospital in there.
The hospital with all of the structures.
Wally, where's more now? Where's more?
Now that one be answering why he going
Sorry,
on.
let me tell you,
The
I will speak
hospital,
there. Go
No,
the entire
they
structure,
ain't finna be interrupting his
everything
talk. Wally,
was
I
turned
beg you.
over to the government of Liberia as a property of the government. It was not leased. Senator Kun does not receive or make or sign from it.
Mo Ali, unfortunately, we need our journalists to go after this story because
I agree with you.
For individual to build a 100+ bedroom hospital and everything is just given to the government free of charge, it smells a lot.
Okay.
It smells a lot.
Thank you.
I don't want to buy.
I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask a question to now you, Gibson, because you're making brilliant points. The journalists should investigate. Councillor Pagoy, in the coming days, if the foundation that turned over the hospital to the government produce the document, the turnover document, will you come on the show and apologize to Senator Kun for falsely accusing him?
So, Mo Ali, you mentioned Anasi Miame.
Anasi Miame was a huge supporter of our Kennedy. No, but let me answer my question now before you go to Anasi Miame.
Anasi Miame is the executive director of Centaur. Anasi Miame can defend himself sufficiently. Whether Anasi Miame and you were in political campaign is something that I think it will be good for Anasi Miame to come onto the program and discuss. Because as far as I know, I don't know Anasi Miame to be involved in any political activity. I don't know that. I mean, I've known him for a period of time, and I've never known him to be attached to any political activity. So to be saying that Anasi Miame did a hatchet job against Senator Kun because of some Nima County elections, that's news to me. And you're saying that you're an eyewitness because you and Miame were in campaign together against Senator Kun. So it's on him to clarify that. As far as I know, Centaur is a credible organization that is funded by credible institutions. They will not be putting information out there that they've not investigated. They won't. Okay.
And
the Daily Observer now decided to take the report.
Where's what, Mr. Gibson?
The Daily Observer decided to take the report from a credible organization, Centaur. It's like Human Rights Watch put a report out there. Human Rights Watch will not just put a report out there that they've not vetted properly. Transparency International. Centaur is the Transparency International chapter in Liberia. Transparency International will not be putting a report out there that they've not vetted.
Okay, thank you,
You
Councilor.
honestly,
Let's go back to Mr. Fagon.
And I see Myanmar stop short.
That is my
I gotta
understanding
go
of
back.
what is.
Fagon, Fagon, please come
Yeah,
in.
it's my
Mr.
understanding of
Fagon
what
is
is
gonna
going
come
on.
in, and then you
Like I
guys
said,
save it in your
yeah.
closing statement. Save whatever you
Right.
have to say for your closing statement. Yes, go ahead.
Like I said, in my position.
Mr. Gibson, I'm going
Yes.
to Mr. Fagon right now.
Oh, okay. They call me also. I wanted to end my.
You want me to close?
No. I'm trying to. Slango, can we do 5 calls in Liberia today?
Yeah, sure.
You wanted to say something. That's why I was giving the opportunity.
Everybody now thought that what me I was saying now because me. I got one old man. She say now in New Jersey she has warned me that if I interrupt anybody, she will slap me. Now why you see me I quiet today? All the whole week I've been good. I want to say part of the reason why I don't know if my learned friend Councilor Pago will help Gonglo. I try to restrain myself as much as possible. But sometimes, I try to restrain myself from his candidate compared to what he does to my candidates. That's the point I'm trying to make. And here is what I say so. Your government did not build the big hospital that you see there. This man sold his privately owned Jackie Hotel, which is the biggest in Nimba. Took his 2.5 million and built a hospital for his people. Your candidate is from Nimba. Has he built an OSA toilet? Okay.
So are you finished?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay,
no.
Please.
You want to argue that government put money into this main hospital. Government subsidizes Cottington. Government subsidizes the one in Bong. Government subsidizes many areas. In the interest
of private hospitals
are coming in the interest of our citizens. But this man turned his hospital over, came on this platform, not even rent. The government does not pay him rent. He does not even know how the hospital operates. It's strictly government business. This is his hard 2.5 million he sweat for. Your candidate like him is from Nimba. Have your candidate built small outside toilet for the people in the market?
Okay.
So no, wait. You can't say okay.
Gotta go to the full lines, number 1, and then number 2 close.
I haven't even finished my point, and they went to.
Your friend said,
okay.
Hold on. Your friend said that Santel.
I wanted to finish my point because I didn't finish my point.
That way you finish your point. Let him finish.
Okay.
Your friend said Santel is like Transparency International. Do you see?
Like it is. It's not like it is.
Thank you for the correction. I will give it to you. Do you see Transparency International supporting a candidate in any country or politically involved in any country?
You got 30 seconds.
So because of conflict of interest. When you support a candidate, you are much more inclined to put down another candidate against that candidate.
Okay, thank you.
So your credibility there is lost, and the argument of Santel being credible no longer holds water.
Mr. Fagon,
it is politically tainted.
Mr. Gibson, Jeru, finish the thought.
I want to thank Senator Kuhn for building a hospital, $2.5 million US, and giving it to the people of Liberia. Thank you, sir.
Let me respond to that. First of all, I will start with your last assertion about Councillor Gonglo not making any contribution to his people, which I don't know. When people are talking about contribution, my problem always is, are they talking about physical structure or something intellectual structure?
I talk about smart market. Smart toilet in the market.
Apart from the fact,
you know that what you want to talk about, the man trying to correct you, so listen to him.
I want a small toilet.
Apart from the fact that Councillor Gonglo has contributed to the nation building, the intellectual capacity, and everything else put together. Let me just tell you, you are behind Vice President Boakai.
What does Vice President Boyka have? He got a chicken house in Lopa. What does he do?
I will make you apologize in the next
no, I think it's an intellectual question. It's an intellectual question. It's not for you to answer.
Lie. I will
No,
show you
it's an intellectual question.
Guys, I have to end this conversation.
It's an intellectual question.
I have to end this conversation.
Okay, intellectual question.
Diamond Center,
And you can't give me chance to. If you look at VP Boyka, with all the millions of dollars he received while he was vice president, he got nothing to show for it.
You see, that one an intellectual question, an intellectual statement again.
No, that question. Councilor Gonglo is one of the very
Diamond, you
few
please
people
come
in
on,
our
Diamond.
life.
Let's go to the full line for five questions. Let's hear from Liberian people. We talk about Diamond, you come in?
I like my man Gacy.
Let me hear out Dr. Richardson. I just in the background listening to your, do your thing. Yeah.
Are we able to get at least
My
5
friends,
calls?
no problem. I got enough. No problem.
Today we talk about no report, no salary, and then we talk about accountability issue under the hospital that Mr. Kuhn built, and then of course, Falcon is arguing about NFA funds.
Okay, so the numbers to call, the local numbers to call: 0777 77 1075 0555 1075. Those are the numbers to call. Hello. Good evening to you, sir. Let's hear you out. 1 minute, please, quickly.
Thank you. My name is Peter S. Mato, and I do join you from Banana State to be precise.
Okay.
Look, I listen to your panelists, and one thing. Let me say this: the development that was carried on by our vice president, and Jeremiah Quinn. I think I see it to be something like policy with to be like is low. The 2.5 million investment at the hospital, I think it's something I welcome. I don't see for government to come saying government saying that they're in it. And the man who's that project, and you all right. Look at Tomo Para, anyway, our content project. Look at the university that you build. Look at the institutions that you build all around. So what Jeremiah people put down the hospital that will benefit the entire country?
Okay, all right, sir. Thank you for your input. We take this next person here. Hello.
Hello, this one.
Yeah, you live on Spoon. Go ahead, please.
Okay, my first time calling this Gabriel Conto calling from the Sogre Bill.
Go ahead, first time caller, Gabriel. We hope you keep calling.
I want to listen to you about other call, but I was too confused to call today. The first thing I want to tell the councillor and the councillor who's your
Councillor Pagoy, please be respectful of personalities.
Nothing forget in Nova, the president was in Allah. But I have a very big school and a very big house in Nova. That's a notion they can around what can I do?
Okay.
But coming 2010, they will see Boga victory. So they can forget about it. Thank you.
Thank you as well. He sounded quite hyped up. Yeah, let's get this person. Hello.
Now, Pago made it man fair.
That's it. I'll call before, but you walk on screen. Hello. Let's hear you out, please.
Okay. Let me send greetings to all the panelists on show tonight. I'm a son of Nima County. But if we can respect Honorable Yerugwe Johnson before the 2020 elections, make a thing here. Concerning this same hospital, the hospital that we are talking about today in Ganta, on the FPNC road there, they mean Remy E&J. The E represent the daughter of the rescue 2, and the J remain they represent the mother's name initial. So Senator Johnson, after that we're talking about that I allocated to that hospital. He said, yeah, you make a statement and I quote. He said, the money you not see, I will not give my support to you. I'm a man with principle. I have a recording. I will not give my support to you. All of a sudden, the next day, Senator Johnson said, we are going to endorse my son in Ganta. So the journalist asked him. It's not the same man that he said he stole money. He put out, okay, I said, I'm not listening to it. So I said, this hospital, let the people show real documents. Senator Kuhn cannot do nothing free for people in Nimba County there. We were in Ganta, you know where we were representative. You were so many things, even the 15 billion. Honorable Philip Brown came out to say that the money was distributed for the high school. And all of them, right there, they said they were going to sue Honorable Philip Brown. Philip Brown said, I tell you, okay, I get evidence.
Okay.
Nobody sued Philip Brown in this country.
All right, sir, you have to wrap up. We have to take other callers.
Yamaku is involved in so many things, so many corruption attitude. Nobody should come here and say, you should sit down over there and say, amen, the party, those things, it was a private property. He sold them.
Okay, sir.
But
Thank you.
The hospital is not free.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your input as well. Let's take this next person here. Hello.
Good evening, school family.
Good evening to you. Let's hear you out, sir.
Lawrence K. Mambo calling from Ghana.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Oh, thanks so much. You know, before getting to my point, Councillor failed to answer Mo Ali's question whether he will come back over to this station to apologize and he just play around here. Now let me get to my main point, accountability. You know, the government just feel all Liberians, they are stupid. Let me just put it that way. Since 2018, there is no budget performance. So that I wonder how the president can address the nation annually. Your ministers have not been producing budget performance. And Samuel Toy responsible and the horse responsible. Before you can pass any budget, I think it's supposed to debate on the first money that you have shared with the several ministries that are supposed to receive the budget. Now, you're giving your child school fee. Whether the child failing or passing, not seeing the report card. And another year, and get the child school fee again and selling in the school. You know, they have been killing themselves, but they take everything as quality. And let me be very frank with you. Mo Ali talk about 10 over note. We're going to see where they started from and how they ended up. We're seeing that 10 over note.
Okay, so you have to start wrapping up your comment. We want
let
to take
everyone see what will be in that 10 over note. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you as well. Dr. Richardson, is there 6 more?
No, that's good. That's good. Okay.
Okay.
Let's move to our closing comments because I don't think we have an international. Working on getting the international line, right? We do have it. Okay. So let's move to our closing thoughts. Let's please be mindful, at least 2 minutes each, so that we at least we can get here on time. Get out of here on time. I want to start with Mr. Gibson.
Yeah, good. First, okay, thank you very much. My 2 minutes, I'm going to use it wisely. Let me say something here. Lamin Bako, Councillor Bako will not have to apologize for anything. In the court of public opinion, Senator Kuhn is under obligation to provide the documents that he gave or sold the building to the government of Liberia. Before you do something like that, there will be an agreement that you enter. There will be an agreement that this building is now the property of the government of Liberia, or I am giving the use of the building to the government of Liberia. I retain ownership of the building. That document should be provided, and Senator Kuhn is under responsibility as a politician, as a leader who's supposed to show role model. He is under responsibility in the court of public opinion to provide the documentation. We are not supposed to be guessing about it. This is what makes it very difficult for our government officials to show transparency, because they always have something to hide. And I think Senator Kuhn has something to hide. And if he doesn't have anything to hide, he should give the document to journalists and say, hey, look, why are you guys wasting my time? This is the document I signed with the government of Liberia. I gave the building to them. This is the agreement that we made. I no longer own the building, or I own the building, but I don't have any control of the running of the building. Let him show documentation. We cannot be guessing, second guessing about his action, about that project. In fact, it raises more questions now than before, that his inability to provide documentation shows that he must have been benefiting financially from that building. Okay, so Councilor Packer has nothing to apologize for. The senator still has a responsibility to provide documentation. Now, let me go to my last point. When people are talking about Councilor Gonglo, you got to be careful how you talk about this man. This man has taught people. He has built knowledge in this country at the level of the university. He has represented people free of charge. By the way, how can he ever be rich when he represents people free of charge? All the journalists in Liberia represent you free of charge. Anybody go to jail? Mulba Molu, Akaras Gray, Jefferson Koji, all these people, including my own friend and brother, front page publisher, Randy Sear, all of these people represented them free of charge, represented the press union Liberia free of charge. How you expect a man to get money to build skyscrapers like Senator Kun, who was making business? No, the man was paying. He was paying.
30 seconds, Mr. Gibbs, Mr. Jeremy. 30 seconds.
Okay. He paid attention to working in the interest of the people that matter, and that has what he has been doing all over the year. And he has employment. He has a law firm that employs people that put bread on people's table. So he's also making contribution to the development of the country, the social, economic, and human resource development of the country. So he has done more than anybody can imagine.
Thank you. Moali.
Thank you. You know, I will correct a few things. Firstly, Honorable Kun did not sell the structure. He gave it to Governor Liberia free. And Gibson is a very veteran journalist. We have a government that Senator Kun is contesting against, that is going to whip on October 10, 2020. If Senator Kun say, I turned the hospital over to the government in 2019, June, and I think Allah, Gibson, you are a person who can reason whether the government wants to see Kun anywhere. Who you think are going to be the first to turn your outside and say you lying? The government $550,000 in the budget for the hospital that is owned by Kun, who is an opposition figure running to unseat them. That hospital is the only government hospital in Ganta. But it's not difficult. Okay, so let's assume that our Kun and I refuse to do it. Government against Kun now. Why can't we run to the government to say, okay, you know what happened? That put him in boss. Does it ain't making some kind of sense here? You know, the only person who is under obligation, if he's lying on the government too is under obligation to come out to say, you know what?
The burden of proof.
And I agree. Kun is lying on all. Yeri said they never turn over the money we put in there is for social thing, and Kun is collecting the profit. That the government come and dispute what Kun has said, that he turned it over to them. So there is nobody second guessing here. It's simple that two sides to this thing. Kun has said on this show, I turned it over to the government. Since that time, it's more than 1 month. Let the government come on and prove Kun wrong if he didn't do it. So I will end up on this note. We're talking about corruption. And I do agree that people who are caught into the act of corruption, whether that's my brother, that's my man, or whoever, the law should take its course. And that's why I said we did all of our background investigations. If Kun through any of our investigation was found to be in any form of corruption, Joseph Baka would not have taken him. So now we push the argument back to you. Oh, Senator Anderson Miame supported Edith Gonglo where in the 2020 election, senatorial election. That was his candidate. She was our candidate. Anderson Miame has no case. He did no investigation. How difficult is it to go to the government for Anderson Miame to go and prove as to whether Kun trained over the hospital or not? And as a matter of fact, private entities like hospitals and schools, they are being subsidized by government. So if it is only for the subsidy, it could have said that when it was run by the foundation, government was subsidizing, buying drugs and paying some salaries. What is wrong in that? They may say, attorney, oh, I'm not taking further. If the government, if government now is few accused and who is saying the wrong thing, let the government come out. Then they will tell us why they are putting all that money in the budget.
30 seconds, Molly.
Why are they putting all the money in the budget just to give it to somebody who is a mere opposition figure to them? So there is no two sides about this. Councillor Pagoy and Gibson. The government will show if Kun did not turn over the hospital to them. That is a simple argument. Case closed.
Okay,
close the argument. Thank you.
Councillor Parker.
Yeah, so for me, it's never been about whether somebody owns a house, except maybe it's a legal requirement of the person. Like to run for president, you gotta have certain value of property. So that's the only time I will speak about stuff like that. But I won't say this person doesn't have this. So Eugene said that thing, and unfortunately, it's the same kind of ludicrous thing that Prince Johnson said before. Prince Johnson, who did not own or rack in the ground in the country before becoming senator. Before becoming senator, he didn't own anything. Then all of a sudden, he got up with that crazy talk that Councillor Gonglo did not own a house in Liberia. When Councillor Gonglo has built a house in a village, a very nice one. I've been there. Very nice one in a village. Blaise Opie. Anybody on the call will know where Blaise Opie is, they can go there and see. He built a public library there also in honor of his father. He didn't go asking government for money to subsidize that public library. For me, I have had only one stance on corruption in the country. It doesn't matter who does it. If that person is corrupt, the person is corrupt. If the evidence points in that direction, the person should be dealt with. There is absolutely nothing about it. I've had that stance from the time I got involved in politics when Mr. Taylor was president in the country, and that stance will not change. Not because somebody is my friend today, then I will change my views on certain things. I would never do it. I don't hate anybody. We're talking transparency here. The other person, somebody called and talked about the university in the Gardensville area that was built by one of these the SKD Boulevard, in fact, built by one of these senior government officials. Why should we allow these people to continue padding the budget in order to support their own pet projects? It's wrong. It's absolutely wrong. It doesn't matter who do it. If Councillor Gonglo did it tomorrow, I will condemn him the same way. The exact same way I will condemn him. I don't hate Mr. Kun. I've never met him before. He passed here, I will not even know him. I've never met him before. I won't say negative things about people simply because I want to say it doesn't matter who does the wrong. It doesn't matter. I will say it the same way. It can be my brother. My brother does something wrong. I will say you wrong. And if there's something corrupt, he needs to be prosecuted. I will call for a prosecution. So we shouldn't be changing. We shouldn't be changing positions because it suits us. If today the president is our friend, so we say everything is good about the president. Tomorrow the president is no longer, and we see that thing all the time. When you guys are friends with certain people, that person is injured. By the time they break ranks, forget it. They start condemning that person, insulting that person. We have to stop it. We have to stop that thing in this country. We have to stop it.
Thank you.
When somebody does something good, we say. When the president does something wrong, we condemn it.
Thank you.
And I didn't raise the issue. I didn't say what I said because of Mr. Kun. It doesn't matter. It can be Mr. Kun, it can be Mr. Brown. I would say the exact same thing. When somebody is found wanting of doing something wrong, that person should answer for doing it. I will close on this point. Anansi Miame is the executive director of the Center for Transparency and Accountability in Liberia. I know that Anansi Miame is a Nima County person. He comes from Nima County. I do not know Anansi Miame. I've known Anansi Miame for years, probably going back 10 years or more. I do not know Anansi Miame to be politically active in any political camp publicly. But Mr. Ali has said that Anansi Miame were involved in political campaign. So he's put something out there that I'm sure even if it happened, Anansi Miame did not intend to come public. So he's put that challenge out that Anansi Miame is politically interested as a reason why, since he lost an election, or he was supporting somebody who lost an election, so he came back saying negative things and doing a hatchet job against Mr. Kun. It's on Anansi Miame to come here, to go public and explain himself.
Okay.
We have to stop this thing. When we friendly with somebody today, the person is injured, and we no longer friendly with the person tomorrow, the person is a devil. We have to stop it. We have to be equal opportunity offenders. That's what we have to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Mr. Fagon, and then I will do my closing at last, after you.
You let Lami talk for 10 minutes, but it's okay. I will only talk for 2. I will talk for 2.
Echo. You left fighting business. You left problem.
Gipsy, you say your candidate represented people for free.
Yeah.
Can you provide the documents now?
What document? It's in the media.
Media are not document. Did your candidate provide a document to say, oh, I represented people for free, so here is the document? Why are you asking us? Our candidate say, I turn over the hospital. You not satisfied? Go ask. If you come here to argue, you don't want accusing the man of not turning over the hospital. The burden of proof rests with who? With you. Let's leave that case closed long time. You want to find out? Say you say, man, turn it over, prove it. A caller came. He said E and J stay on the hospital. Yes, it's still on the hospital because that was the condition. That I will get out of the hospital. But please, let my mom and my daughter remain on it. Because it is in memory and in the epilepsy that she suffers today in the United States, and is to give rise to that kind of condition. So let that name remain. The government accepted it. But the government told him that you, any liability, any debt you owe, we're not inside. You will pay all. We're taking it from here, and that's all we know. We're not responsible for any other thing. He said, yes, sir. Yes, it. Take it. My friend, when the caller was talking, Lami said, yeah, that's a good example. Yeah, that's a good example. Lami, I'm going to call you the third time. You taking votes from Gonglo. Thomas Fala School is for Thomas Fala. Thomas Fala School paying school fee. Thomas Fala run his school. Thomas Fala didn't give it to government. It's for Thomas Fala. That's not a good example. This man built his hospital and turned it over to the government and said, take it. You can't compare the two. Under no condition. Yeah? Let's go to the other part. I want to say to all the people listening to me tonight, in the coming days, say Ome Joe Bwaga in let to talk 18, we're talking and we'll show videos to back it. If anybody come here to come debate, bring your candidate on your team. If you can't show what your candidate has done, then don't debate on what our candidate have done. Come to us with what your candidate will do so we can debate upon the future. It will be a good thing. Because most of the candidates got nothing to show. Nothing. And I'm saying this again. If you clean, I'm sure Lami Pagoy No, one councillor they call Bobo. You know him? Lami?
I don't know anybody called Bobo, my man.
Oh, the law firm you work to, you not know him?
The law firm I work to? Which law firm you know I work with?
Okay, we'll come back tomorrow and provide the facts to the Liberian people.
The guy is interesting.
When Ida Gonglo was accused of the 1.1 million that she took from the coffers of the Nima people, they went to this councillor and he wrote a letter that
the guy name is Jimmy Sabomo. He one of those headed things.
10 seconds, okay? Why are you looking for me? You don't have all the
Jimmy
Councillor
Bomo.
More than 5.
You said Bomo, and that Englishman.
My man, let's discuss that whole topic for
tomorrow. Tomorrow show we'll discuss it.
Francio, I call the man Councillor Bongo for him to correct me saying I know nobody. Please tell him let me talk my team.
And he said I work with a law firm because of Bomo. I don't
know. Please 10 seconds, man. Let hurry up. It's after 7 o'clock.
Why you expecting me to define what you are trying to say?
I told you to leave my Kennedy. Ask Dr. Francine and they know me. When I say leave my Kennedy then. Because if you don't leave them, when I take shower for you.
Mr. Gibson, wait.
Wait, when I take shower for your Kennedy, you will not let me.
Leave my Kennedy, let me.
Okay.
Let me finish my 30 seconds. Let me finish my 30 seconds.
I'm not finished, so we can go home today. Today we gotta go home.
Let me finish my 10 seconds.
But I thought, President, why you talking on the go in the whole day?
I'm tired. Go ahead.
I just call you on the go home. We continue tomorrow.
Go ahead.
All right.
Gotta bring Anderson to respond to you. That more contact.
Okay, Councillor, give me a chance. Let me just close. Okay, I want to tell all of our callers, thank you for calling in. We appreciate your contribution to the show. All of the viewers, who are watching this show, thank you for coming almost every day to support Spoon Talk. I want to just tell the viewers that are typing, making comments, thank you too. And panelists, the show was excellent today. I hope that we continue this pattern. Really had a fruitful discussion where the Liberian people can actually take something away from us. My thought about, first, I'm going to start with this whole hospital business because that's the last comment. I have a problem with somebody building a hospital and then all of a sudden either turning it over to the government or the government say they want it. We don't know what the exact story is. I have a problem with that, okay? Because how do you spend your own money building something and then the government say, I want it, and then you say, yeah, it is, or either you turn it over to the government. There's something about it, especially though. Mwali, I know you want to interrupt me. I beg you, hold your peace more, Papa. The thing about it too is that, especially this man was on the Ways and Means Committee, okay? He's on there, and I just, there's a conflict of interest for me, okay? Then the second thing that we talked about was the wasteful spending. We, examined that whole issue of no report, no salary. I think it's a day late, dollar short. It's very late for saying that right now. I think the Liberian people ultimately suffer when we don't have reports submitted to them to see where we can develop our country or where we can divert our money. And, lastly, Mr. Cummings basically would be the one to close the loopholes in corruption. He's talking about wasteful spending. Somebody mentioned that here today. I like to describe to you, Liberian people that listen, it's a kind of bucket and there's holes and the water is flashing all over the place. When Mr. Cummings comes to power, October 10, 2023, he's going to close the loopholes. So all of our resources that we have can stay in the bucket, okay? All of the water can stay in the bucket. I want you to picture that, okay? And he's going to take that money and divert it to the important things that we need: healthcare, education, agriculture, improving the mindset. Because there's something, we'll talk about this, there's something going on with the mindset of Liberians, and we'll talk about that. So I'm asking you, Liberians, to make an important decision for our country, October 10, 2023. I'm asking to give Councillor Charlene Bronsky and Mr. Cummings a chance. Having said that, I want to thank all of you guys, panelists and viewers, for coming in today.
I like the way you pause Mo Ali to now. Mo Ali, when I try to say, hey, I know you're coming to interrupt me, stay right there.
So I get so something okay. So that's
the advantage of speaking live.
What you said? Thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate you being on the show. You kind of fit that in today. So thank you for being here. We'll come back again and see you guys tomorrow. Mo Ali, thank you, man. Thank you for being here. All right.
Thank you for not talking much, for speaking.
Bye-bye. See you later.
With the spoon and your boy Friday the South and Band. Charges on the beat. Design a special one from the CEO. Stand home with the spoon and your boy Friday the South and Band. Charges on the beat.
On the spoon to get your information. To the spoon to be part of our discussion. Spoon, spoon, spoon television. Spoon, spoon, spoon radio station. Spoon gonna tell you what